I want to leap over buildings, want to fly over the shores, faster than a lightning flash, rushing through the cool night air. So start ignition, count to zero. I just wanna be a superhero. With fearless thoughts, emotions swirl. I wanna be the man that saves the world.
First two rounds of the 2018 Classic IndyCar Series have been won by the same driver, Michele Constantini. However, we go back to an oval, and this is a fast and hard one. It's Kansas Speedway that, let's be honest, ever since it opened in 2001 even, it's had fantastic racing. Was a part of the IndyCar Series for a period of time until 2010. Now plays host to NASCAR races only, but hey, this is the Classic IndyCar Series, so we get a run a little bit old school as we welcome you to Sunday night prime time here on Racespot TV and on iRacing Live. It's Will Vinson along with Jack Stiles as we get ready to go racing for 300 miles around the track, which has progressive banking on it. 17 to 20 degrees in the corners. These front straightaway, well, that's just got a little bit less. That's between 9 and 11 degrees of banking, with 5 degrees of banking on the back straightaway. Qualifying is currently underway. Track conditions today are cool in Kansas, and that means we're possibly going to see some multi-groove racing from the bottom all the way to the top. Those 11 km an hour winds, though, they will be one thing that needs to be paid attention to. Want to give a shout out to a couple of people: Istvan Balau, TrackCams22.com, Andreas Warner for overlay design, that's And1 Design, Simon Grossman for development, and AppGeneering.com, Nick Thiston, Racespot TV live timing and scoring, and also Logical Innovative Engineering, the official partner of the Classic IndyCar Series. And well, qualifying, as we said, is underway as we speak. Got ourselves Matt Cook at the top of the timing stands right now, Jack. And worth noting, a lot of drivers don't often come to Kansas. It's a track that wasn't used that much in the official iRacing series. Actually, it was a latecomer to iRacing itself. So a lot of people, this will be the first time they've really done a full-length competitive race here.
There's a few names as well which aren't as high up the list on the qualifying times as we expect them to be. Henry Bennett is still on his second lap, but he hasn't put a time that's even got himself into the top 20 yet, so he is really struggling. Is going back to what you say, it's a track that not many drivers have experience on, and it's a very different design of circuit that some other ovals are in the US, and actually Henry Bennett puts himself a little bit further up the timing sheets there, Will, but Kansas is going to be interesting, as you said, multi-groove racing, and these cold temperatures will mean that the drivers are going to be driving this car very hard because the tyres are going to have a lot of grip in the cold temps.
Yeah, and we call it 300 miles. It's actually 304 miles. It was disputed, the track length. NASCAR called it 1.5 miles because, hey, IndyCar, they actually measured it at 1.52 miles. And if it comes down to a driver running out of fuel, Jack, in the last 3 laps, remembering that one.
Yeah, I think that could be incredibly important. Obviously, 200 laps around this circuit. They'll all be doing it on the number of laps, and they'll have relatively accurate fuel numbers to go off for the whole of this race. And I think everyone now has put a qualifying time in, and we aren't too far away from going green.
No, and what that does mean is we can take a look then at what is going to be your starting grid for this round number 3 of the Classic IndyCar Series. Well, as we cycle over then to race coverage, it is Matt Cook, 218.18 miles an hour. He's on the front row of the grid, and he's joined by Michele Constantini, the driver who's won the first 2 races of this season. Heading on back to row number 2, Robert Grosser and Liam Quinn on that second row of the grid. Then row number 3, you've got yourself Henry Bennett and Hans Pitkinen. Row number 4, teammate Isinyemi and Joshua Bard, with row 5 being Caleb Weekly and John Elmsheimer. Worth noting, Jack, it's only the second driver in Matt Cook to have a pole position this season.
Yeah, that is very interesting, and maybe we could see a driver who hasn't won so far. Anyone but Michele Constantini. If they win here today, they will be our second winner of the season. Michele has got 2 for 2 so far. Can he take 3 for 3 today?
Yep, the drivers are lining themselves up on the starting grid as we speak, as we continue to cycle through your field here today. Note the top 20, all within 0.4 of a second of your pole position driver of Matt Cook. Nice big field here today at Kansas Speedway as well, as we build up to the month of May. Of course, some fantastic action coming your way over the next couple of weeks. We've got a road course race, of course, in the Classic IndyCar Series at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We've got ourselves 3 Indy 500s as well. We're going to have one in the Indy Elite Series. We've got one with the Major Series, and of course the big one, the 9th annual running of the iRacing Indianapolis 500. Going to be fantastic to watch. But let's show you the drivers then, as they are on the starting grid now behind the iRacing first pace car. 1 pace lap around here before we get ourselves ready to go racing for 304 miles. We'll use the official IndyCar thing. We'll call it 304 miles. That is 200 laps around this racetrack.
It's going to be an extremely exciting 304 miles. The first 2 races of the season have given us great action, and I expect the third one to be just as good, if not better. 30 cars are going to be taken to the green flag, as it looks as though the pace car is now starting to move. Matt Cook and Michele Constantini will be following that nicely closely, and I think Michele will be putting up a great fight today to try and hold on and try and get 3 for 3.
Yeah, there's a look then at your pole position driver of Matt Cook. Number of onboards as ever here in the Classic IndyCar Series. Got one with your pole position driver of Matt Cook. We also have got one with the driver of Sasha Lamp in the number 42 machine. Driver who's been very interesting to watch all season long. Henry Bennett, of course, we've got an onboard with him here today, he says. There we are. As well as, finally, Lucas Laville, number 2 machine. Always fun to watch him on track as well, on board with Lucas Laville in that Perrier car. As we're now getting ready to go racing, that pace car will pull itself on towards pit road in a moment. Practice starts were a bit interesting. We had a couple of drivers who had some issues getting themselves going. Let's see whether we can get ourselves green at the start here on what can be very difficult in cold track conditions. And a drop off from the banking on the corners towards that front straightaway. And here we go then. Green flag in the air. Kansas, and there's a bit of hesitation through your field, but it does look as though we are going to get our cars going. We're all going to get them through the start-finish line and in towards turn number 1 as they'll come in for the first time. Matt Cook has got your race lead. He's already pulled out a bit of a lead, actually, as they work themselves now down towards turn number 3 and 4 for the first time. Good, clean start, and it looks as though we're going to get everyone pretty much single file, although there is three-wide racing down in the middle part of your field. That's got Shoemake, Stanley, and Jos van der Van involved in that one.
Yeah, Rory Collins looks like he had a bit of an issue coming off of turn number 2. Not the first lap he would have wanted. He's dropped a long way down your field, now down into 28th position. And only David Costello and Joel Tremblay who didn't take the start behind him. So everyone looking like they were a little bit hesitant at the start. A few battles going on up and down your field so far. Everyone's just starting to settle into the groove. But Matt Cook and Michele Constantini are really going at it. Matt Cook looking like he's going to try and hold that inside line. But Michele's going to try and use that high groove here at Kansas. We'll have to wait and see to see if that works. Robert Grosser isn't too far behind, waiting to pounce if anything goes wrong in front of him.
Yeah, live timing and scoring will be available in just 10 seconds time, ladies and gentlemen, here on RaceSpot TV. There we are, it's up for you now, as we've got a battle going on then for the race lead. Constantini looking to the high side, and then you've got yourself Matt Cook down low. They'll come past the start-finish line. Who's going to have it at the line? That time by, it was Cook who had it, and he's going to get the run on that inside line. You've got to be careful here, running too wide, but that progressive banking does give you the opportunity to do so. As they work down the back straight away, Constantini pulls ahead, tries to arc that car a little bit more into turn number 3 and 4, but it does look as though that Cook can really hold that bottom line. Tyre wear can sometimes be an issue at this track here, Jack, but only if the track temperature gets higher than about 30 degrees. You'll see drivers starting to struggle to hold that white line all the way around.
You won't see the track temperatures above 30 degrees here today, Will. The air temperature is only 20, and I don't think the track has got any hope in heating up that much. It looks like they're trying to go 2x2, too deep as well up at the front. Liam Quinn looks like he was trying to make a move on Robert Grosser, just couldn't get around. Henry Bennett as well is making his way up through the field nice and quickly. He's already up into P number 5, which is incidentally where he started, so a couple of drivers are having a good start. Adam Shipstone as well, making his debut in the Classic IndyCar Series. He is already up what looks like... Or no, he might be down one position. He looked like he was gaining a few earlier to start off with. He's obviously just getting used to the pack racing and how intense these cars are, Will.
Yeah, on board of Andrew Adair Saunders as he's got himself Randy Shoemake on his outside line. And now these drivers, they would have tried to set their car up to work particularly well on one part of the track. And as someone that's done a lot of racing on progressive banked ovals like this one, like Homestead, like at Michigan, it does give you the opportunity, if you want to try and have a car set up to work the outside line, you can do so. As we're on board with Joshua Bard right now in the number 23 car. He's got Liam Quinn on his inside as they work through towards turn number 1 and 2 again. But Joshua Bard not doing a bad job right now, as we've got a driver well down our scoring there. That is Jan Hoffman, who I think might have made a little bit of contact with the wall somewhere.
He may have done indeed. I'll just go and have a look for you. It looks as though at the moment everything looks clean, so not sure whether he's just struggling with his tyres, struggling with the car. May not have the setup perfectly spot on. You can see just ahead of him there's a nice big gaggle of cars all going too wide, and in fact Jan Hoffman has had to slow up a little bit. There's a very quick moving car in the background. That's TM Hauser, and he had to very quickly jump off the throttle into 1 and 2 there, Will, just to make sure that he didn't cause an accident. Would have been the first caution of the day, but that was luckily avoided. Matt Cook still holding off Michele Constantini and Robert Grosser, and these looks as though we're going to have a three-way battle for the lead, and Robert is looking high, but so is Michele. So they're just going to, it's going to be hard to go 3 wide through turn number 1 and 2 here. But Joshua Baird, I've got to say, I believe this is his debut season, Will, and he's already showing that he is one of the names to look out for in the future.
Yeah, he's doing fantastic. The only issue is right now, he's caught on the outside line, and the top 3 drivers are all running the bottom. So Bard hasn't been able to really capitalise from all this draft lock air that's being pushed around the racetrack. And again, Bard is having to hold that outside line in towards turn number 1 and 2, because there is Liam Quinn in the 07 machine as they work themselves down the back straight away again. This is helping Quinn a little bit, who did look as though that car struggled a bit more on that inside line. You see he's not hugging it all the way down to that white line through turns number 3 and 4. But the fact he's getting the draft, though, is helping him stay ahead of Bard for the time being.
Looking a little bit further back in your field, we've got down towards the rear. TM Hauser is making his way through. He is currently up 5 positions on where he started, siphoning his way through quite heavy traffic at the moment. He's got Johnny Garrett as his next target just up the road, and behind him David Costello, Sam Winton, Jan Hoffman and Rory Collins are all fighting out for the lower positions and looking up towards your top 20. But at the moment we've got a nice big gaggle of cars at the back and a nice big gaggle of cars at the front. Not really too much in the middle. 1 or 2 cars, that would, one of them being Veseyula Ollier, the 996s. Liam Quinn and Joshua Baird still are going side by side all the way around this circuit, and you cannot put a matchstick between them. One gets in front, then the other retakes it.
Yeah, and Robert Grosser still running in that 3rd place. Constantini in 2nd, and leading the way is Matt Cook. We've done 13 laps of 200, complete in this one already. And now they've got themselves going. The chance of a caution does diminish immediately. Now those tyres got some temperature into them. It's going to be close racing, but it will settle down into more one-groove racing as the tyres kind of heat up a little bit more. And these drivers might have to use some in-car tools. You've got the weight jackers, you've got the anti-roll bars. Now, you probably want to use those more only if you're running in a pack. And the big thing will be, if you end up with clean air in your car all of a sudden, you've got to remember to be very quick in turning down those in-car adjustments. Otherwise, you could end up with a bit of snap oversteer. You don't want to touch the white line either too much. It's not like at certain tracks where you can almost bounce off it. Here, you touch it too much and it's going to hurt you. There is banking on the apron here compared to a track like, for example, Texas Motor Speedway, but you've got to work with it as your top three. Again, very, very close, and you wonder already if there's a little bit of fuel saving going on in either the number 1 or the number 66 cars.
I wouldn't be surprised. Logical Vortex have been known in the past for good fuel saving, and Michele Constantini, we usually see him a little bit more aggressive than he is today. I wonder whether he's just sitting behind Matt Cook and using his draft to save some fuel. But going back to what you were saying, as soon as these guys run out of the dirty air or get into the dirty air, the handling of the cars are going to completely change, and especially these RO5s, they are extremely sensitive to the change in the handling that you see. Joshua Baird has also managed to get into P4 and is now actually running that low line as well, so he's managed to shake off Liam Quinn and leave him to the mighty Henry Bennett behind. Yeah, and the important thing to know in that battle was the fact that Bard and Quinn weren't losing any real time to your top 3 drivers. Our lead pack, we still got, get this, within 1 second of your race leader, we currently have 7 drivers. Timo Isiniemi completes those 7 drivers as we speak. Lucas DeVille is a driver running in P number 8. And the thing is, if this race was to have a litany of cautions, then we would be in a situation where you could end up having this race run to time. The fact we've gone 18 laps green so far, if it stays this way, we are looking at a potentially furious pace here. One of the fastest races in the history of the Classic IndyCar Series. I think we might be. Obviously, we saw towards the end of last year, I can't remember exactly what circuit it was, but we had a race that went green almost all the way for about 185 laps. I think that was one you missed, in fact, Will. I think it was me and Randy Chenworth that did that. So we have seen races go green almost all the way, or if not all the way before, especially last year when Open's Open covering this series. But it'd be nice to see that again and have a really nice fast-paced race here, as Henry Bennett actually is going to go high. Timo Isiniemi is going to try and use that low groove and try and get another position. Yeah,
Isiniemi then in the number 33 machine, just having to get off the gas a little bit through turn number 1 and 2 there. Don't forget, you can get social with us on social media, /RaceBotTV on Facebook, at RaceBotTV on Twitter, and of course, like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, because you've always got to say like, share, and subscribe, apparently, when you're doing a YouTube video. It's just the way you do things. Robert Grosser leading in, is at the rear of your top 3 pack right now, but Constantini looking to the high side, just getting himself ready. Now, I'm not sure whether that's him just protecting those tyres or whether he's going to try and set up a run. Grosser looking as though he might try and go to the high side with Constantini as they work themselves in towards turn number 1 and 2 again. Hard battling going on, but Constantini can't get a nose alongside Matt Cook. And let's not forget, Matt Cook, when he came into IndyCar, he didn't actually run the IRA 5. He started in the Dallara DW12. So this is his first season really running the IRA 5.
I haven't been around on iRacing long enough to remember when Matt Cook started IndyCar. Well, I think you definitely will, but
he's on my team.
Yeah, I'm only a couple of years into my iRacing career, and obviously Matt Cook is one of the names that I didn't know about until this year in the Classic IndyCar Series. In fact, Robert Grosser is going to try and go high into 3 and 4, try and get a move on Michele Constantini. Not going to work. Robert is going to slot back in behind that 66 machine and just try and save a little bit more fuel, as Michele is once again trying to set up a move on Matt Cook. He's again not going to be able to get it done. I think Matt Cook has got a car set up to absolute perfection, and he's currently running times which are matching Michele in the draft.
No moves inside your top 4, but a couple of people moving up behind. Lucas Seville up 4 places. Yannick up 5 places. Marshall Stanley up 7 places. He is your biggest mover inside of your top 5 as it stands right now. We actually have a look then on board with that number 25 machine. Having a look a little bit further back, and what you can see is 10 places up for TM Hauser, 12 up for Tyler Lugo Vickery, but down 13 for Rory Collins today. So there has been some movement in the field. It's also worth noting that we only have 1 driver who was classified as out of this event, and he's a driver that didn't start.
Yeah, Joel Tremblay just obviously not taking the green for some particular reason, and he's a driver we've seen driving beforehand, one of the drivers for the Logical Vortex team. And in fact, actually, Joshua Baird has dropped back on that lap, and he's dropped back to 8th position. I wonder what happened there. And in fact, I can tell you, he looks as though he got loose off of turn number 2, and that's just knocked him off of that front pack. It's unlucky for him that it's promoted everyone up. Lucas Seville as well is going to be having a bit of a scrap with Henry Bennett, and Timo Sanyemi is going to be having a bit of a scrap with Liam Quinn, but Robert Gross, Michele Constantini and Matt Cook, your top 3, have now broken away a little bit.
Yeah, there you can see. You could see the back end was just starting to move on that car all the way through turns, and actually he got himself onto the apron previously. So he actually got loose on the exit of 3 and 4, then again into 1 and 2. That's one of the things these drivers are going to have to be careful about, especially when they come off of pit stops and they come back up to speed. As we've had one driver, something's happened to our timing and scoring. We'll keep with it. But Cook continues to lead right now. Just having a look back down your pack. Henry Bennett, Liam Quinn, they're fighting like you often see them do. Randy Shoemake, he's involved in a 5-car battle right now, and he's just working himself fantastically right now. They're going 3 wide behind him almost. Shoemake, Marshall Stanley, Tim Hauser, Tyler Lugo Vickery, and Johnny Garrett all in a very close battle right now.
Yeah, that's an incredible battle. I need to keep my eye on. They're going 2 wide, almost 2 deep. TM Hauser is just going to be sitting there in the middle on the load line, hoping that nothing happens in front of him, because it looks as though Tyler Vickery and I think it's Johnny Garrett, or is that Randy Shoemake? No, it's Randy Shoemake. Those two are going to be trying, and in fact, the 24 machine of Tyler Vickery going to try and get another position, use that higher grove to his advantage. Don't want to sit in the middle of that white line, because that's where the banking is going to slightly change and unsettle the car, and we see that at New Hampshire, and we quite definitely, because the banking does change so much, and we see it a little bit here, but it's not as progressive as somewhere like New Hampshire.
Yeah, more parabolic banking, a bit similar to what we see at Homestead Miami Speedway as well. We could bore you all day long about degrees and bankings, etc. One thing is always for sure, when they say it's a cookie cutter oval, doesn't necessarily mean it is exactly the same. Adam Shipstone right now involved in a battle. He's got himself the driver of Todd Nosebad then just going up. Oh, and Shipstone just coming down below that white line a little bit. Now, traditional IndyCar rules are you can't make a pass below that yellow line, but a couple of drivers are starting to get a little bit loose here and there at places. They need to keep in control of those in-car adjustments, particularly those drivers that have been running the low line the entire race now, Jack.
Yeah, I think the tyres are going to start to be maybe not be as good as they were. Obviously, we're now on to lap 32 of this race, and I wonder whether people are just starting to have to adjust this car a lot more, and they're not being able to adjust it fast enough, as well as Henry Bennett. I saw him get a little bit sideways, but he's also been running that lower groove. He's now been forced into the higher groove by Liam Quinn and Lucas Laville, and I wonder whether that's just hurting him a little bit in that number 007 machine, and he's just not been able to find the speed. And in fact, Liam Quinn, is he going to try and use the overspeed on the lower line? I don't think he can get it done this time. So he's going to just, those two are going to stay side by side. This is going to be a repeat of what we saw with Michele Constantini and Matt Cook. They just stay side by side for about 10 laps. Yeah,
Matt Cook then remains in the lead. Constantini in second place, but you can see the gap between Constantini and the driver of Robert Grosser still isn't that close. Sorry, it's still pretty close as well. It's only about a tenth of a second as they're all holding station. One thing that is worth noting now is your top 3 have broken away. Grosser with a 2.3 second advantage now over Timo Sanyemi. Part of that's been caused by the fact that Joshua Bard has lost quite a bit of time over the last couple of laps, but then also this pack with Timo Sanyemi, Henry Bennett, Liam Quinn, etc. They have also been fighting very hard.
And as well, another pack fighting extremely hard at the moment is the pack from Randy Shoemake down to David Costello. There's more cars getting in on the action now. They're going to go, oh, a little bit of a touch is there. I'm not too sure. David Costello looks like he might have got into the back of one of the cars. I'm not sure who that was. I think it was Tyler Vickery. They've all managed to carry on, but David Costello has lost some pace. There was almost a yellow there, almost a car.
There's almost 2.
Yeah, almost a car into the wall, but they just managed to avoid it. Good driving by these guys, but there's just these guys need to calm down a little bit. It's a long race, and I don't think they're fighting a little bit too hard to try and just to keep this damage free and keep this incident free. In fact, Caleb Weekly makes a mistake off of turn number 2, and he's going to be having a few issues dropping to the back of this pack now.
Yeah, he is, as we just saw there, a couple of replays of what almost had 2 incidents all at the same time. One actually at the rear that started it of that pack, and then Shoemake and Stanley very almost came together on the exit of turn number 2. Matt Cook, Constantini, they remain in position where they are, but it's close now. Lucas Seville and Liam Quinn, they've been going at it again. We're on board with Lucas Seville, and let's turn that camera around and say hi to the high side. 07 machine then of Liam Quinn in towards turn number 1. Again, Neville has the advantage for the time being. Joshua Bard trying to come back into it with that one. But look at that. Over under time. 07 Machine says, you know what? I want to go and play. Number 23 machine of Joshua Bard thinking about following down to the inside as well. And indeed, it looks as though he should get that.
Yeah, he looks as though he's going to have a go. He's obviously got the draft from Liam Quinn, but Lucas Seville looks like he got a good run on Liam Quinn off of turn number 4. Coming down to turn number 1, they're going to be neck and neck, side by side, as Joshua Baird, in fact, has got a good speed on these two. He's going to try and look to make it 3 wide, but the gap is going to get closed by the 2 drivers ahead of him, and he's now going to try and sit in that high line behind Lucas Seville. But Lucas Seville manages to get the move done on Liam Quinn, and Joshua Baird is going to be next to try and get round that 07 machine.
Yeah, we've lost Vesa Olia, by the way, in the 996 machine out of the event. Marshall Stanley is on pit road as we speak with 39 laps scored complete already in this event. Still a bit early for traditional pit stops, but we did see Marshall Stanley was very close to making contact with Randy Shoemaker a little bit earlier. Maybe he might have just dented something on that car a little bit. So let's go back. Bennett, Isinyemi. You've got Lucas Seville there in that mix as well. That's the battle going on for 4, 5, 6 on track. And I tell you, out of all of these, Isinyemi's doing a fantastic job trying to control the flow.
He is. He's sat at the front. He's almost like the pace car for these guys, and no one seems to be able to get past him, but they're all running to around the same pace as him, as Henry Bennett is going to have a look, but cannot get the move done. Liam Quinn manages to get his way past Lucas Seville as well. Joshua Baird is just sat, waiting for an opportunity. Yoni Karnan as well, just behind, gets his way past... and I think that might even be a back marker. That is, in fact, the number 25 machine of Marshall Stanley. So he's just lapping has started, and obviously Marshall Stanley has taken his way down onto the pit lane. Top 3 still say the same way. It's still Matt Cook from Michele Constantini from Robert Grosser, but just behind. Timo Isinyemi is going to be putting up an awesome defence. Vortex are currently holding positions 2, 3 and 4 in this race, but Henry Bennett, Liam Quinn, Lucas Seville and Joshua Baird are not going to be able to, or are not going to make it easy for it to stay that way.
Todd Novosad going to lose 2 positions on the low line by the look of it. Almost making contact with the number 87 machine of Adam Shipstone, actually, as they work through turn number 1 and 2. Novosad's car is just starting to look as if it's a bit uncomfortable on that inside line. He's going to lose another one by the looks of it in a moment to Sam Winton. There is Winton, actually, in that number 17 machine on the exit of turn number 3 and 4. Looks as though that Sam Winton will be up 1 place as well. Let's go back to your leading trio, Cook, Constantini and Robert Grosser. On board then with the driver of Michele Constantini as they continue to scrap it out in that battle for the race lead. But it really has been mainly the case of the Matt Cook show here today, leading the majority, if not every single lap. And a fuel window here, looking at about 56 to 58 laps. We couldn't get to the higher side of that today because of the cool air temperature, Jack.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely be seeing cars starting to come down on the pit lane in the next 15 laps for sure, because 15 lap times are going to be hitting lap 60. So everyone's going to be making their pit stops in not too long of a time, in the next sort of 10 minutes or so. Joshua Baird has also managed to get his way past Lucas Seville and is now eyeing up the 007 machine of Henry Bennett. But, I mean, these got Matt Kirk, he's done an awesome job up at the front. Michele Constantini has put on a good effort to try and get past, but he just cannot get the move done. Matt Cook is defending like a trooper and not letting Michele have any inch of space that could let him pass. And I think that's how you got to drive one of these races, especially if you're expecting it to go green for so long. And Joshua Baird is now using that lower groove to his advantage, and looks as though he might have even got the position on Henry Bennett, but Henry Bennett's going to come back off of turn number 2. Got a good overspeed, and in fact Baird, I think, may have got loose because, or just a tiny little bit, because Lucas Seville almost managed to get his nose in.
Yeah, Liam Quinn, by the way, still right there behind the driver of Timo Isinyemi as they work down towards turn number 1 and 2 again. 48 of 200 scored complete here. And of course, don't forget, a little bit later on, ladies and gentlemen, on RaceSpot TV, it will be a double header in terms of the 2K World Cup presented by DES Simulation. You can catch that one on RaceSpot TV, streaming live on iRacing Live in just under 2 hours time. In another busy weekend, of course, another busy weekend coming up next week. We've got ourselves 24 hours of the Nordschleife, as well as the Indy Elite Series Indianapolis 500. Catch that, of course, all here on Racebot TV next weekend. And if you missed anything about what was another crazy round in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, you need to go and check that one out as well on our YouTube pages. 4 drivers, 5 drivers, very close. P number 5 through P number 9. One more time, although just having a look down the field a little bit, Hans Pitkänen, we haven't yet talked about him in this event, having a pretty good job of it right now, currently running in P number 15.
He is. He's having a bit of a quiet event. We've also had some contact just behind between Caleb Wheatley, and it looks as though one of the Talk Frig racing cars, and it was Adam Shipstone, a rookie, in his debut in the Classic IndyCar Series. They had a bit of a coming together through 3 and 4. Caleb Wheatley is down onto the pit lane getting damage repair. Shipstone is still out and running, but he's now a lap down in 26th. Caution wasn't needed because they kept running and they were off the track, but that's just an unfortunate incident. But again, Hans Pitkänen, he's not as high as we usually see him in the Classic IndyCar Series, but he is having a good day. And in fact, actually, he's going to dive himself down onto what looks like the pit lane entry wheel.
Yeah, he is, as we've got ourselves Rory Collins. He's also making a service as we speak as well. So the pit road is open for a couple of people here already. Let's have a look. There's Rory Collins as he's doing his service at the moment. 12.1 seconds and out and away. You've got yourself Randy Shoemake in as he just comes down the lane as we speak. Hans Pitkänen is in his box any second now. Randy Shoemake even doing his first service. Long-time veteran of the IndyCar Series here on iRacing. 12 seconds, out and away. One thing that is worth noting about these cars is when they are in low gear, they can sometimes be a bit difficult, especially when you're trying to rejoin the track. So we're actually going to go on board then with Hans Pitkänen. You can see just how careful he is putting that throttle down, because when you're in first, second and third gear in low revs, you've got to be careful, otherwise you are going to loop it around.
You are, and that's something we saw at Homestead Miami in the first race, Will. All the issues with the cautions and the restarts, no one could get used to that first gear, and in fact the rejoining car there from the pit lane got extremely close to Timo Isäniemi, almost an instant, but Isäniemi managed to avoid such an incident. Another car down onto the pit lane, that's the number 45 machine of, that is, I will find out for you in a sec, Jonathan Diggs, and there's another one as well, the 34 of Jos. No, not, is it Jos van der Ven?
Oh, Jos van der Ven's on pit road.
Yeah, another one on pit road. So, 34 machine as well is down onto your pit lane. That's Todd Novosad. Wow, I really can't talk today. But your lead 3 are still out in front and still going nice and strong. Matt Cook still defending off Michele Constantini and Robert Grosser like he needs to.
Yeah, no pit stops yet then for Cookie. Number 46 machine in towards 3 and 4. Now, we do expect them on towards pit road. As you say, in the next couple of laps, we do expect pit road to become a very, very busy place. So we'll want to keep an eye out on that one as the drivers will come on towards pit road momentarily. We have been green the entire way here. And indeed, we have got a couple of cars coming on this time by. They include Timo Isäniemi, they include Henry Bennett, and they include Joshua Bard. They are all coming in. Mike Gerlich are coming in. Vickery is on pit road as we speak. So a couple of drivers, as here we are then. Race leaders are going to come in. And Matt Cook, Michele Constantini, and Robert Grosser. Look at that, Constantini being aggressive on the outside as they come in towards pit road. Now it's going to be a case of who's going to be able to win the battle of the pit stops, because that was very quick there. In fact, Constantini technically is ahead, and also Robert Grosser almost got run over there on pit road as there was a car coming out. That was the number 24 machine. Very busy pit road here. A lot of work for these guys to do. Bennett loses position. Bard stays where he is in comparison to other drivers. And let's have a look.
My timing screens have just gone yellow where everyone's just coming down onto pit lane all at once. But the race off pit road, Michele Constantini is moving before Matt Cook. So Michele Constantini will take the lead. Robert Grosser is still going to be sitting in third. Lucas Laville, although my timing screens, he's still yet to cycle through. And Lucas Laville is now going to come down off of pit road. Fastest stop so far that we have seen goes to Hans Pitkänen of 10.2 seconds. I'm pretty sure that can't be a full tank of fuel, Will.
Yeah, I can agree with that one. And Jan Hoffman bringing that car on towards the lane. And one thing that will be worth noting, by the way, is how fast the lane-to-lane time was for Michele Constantini. He was 5 tenths per second faster on the pit stop, 6 tenths per second faster in terms of the end-to-end time. But Matt Cook immediately right back on the rear. Robert Grosser, by the way, has fallen back a little bit to 1.7 seconds behind. We're on board then with Matt Cook as they work through turn number 3 and 4. Can he use that lap traffic to his advantage? This will be his best opportunity to try and do so, although there is a risk that he might get boxed in a little bit. They might have to go 3 wide to get around the traffic. No, Cook decides that he's just going to fall back in line to the time being, unless he's going to try and sell Constantini a bit of a dummy. Doesn't look as though that is going to be the case at this stage in the motor race. Still a long way to go. 140 laps of this event going to have to be completed before too long. We've been running, by the way, for about 32 minutes so far today, so we are within time pretty easily as it stands right now, Jack.
Yeah, also that lap traffic, is worth noting, is Timo Sinyemi, one of the drivers we saw up at the front of the field so far today. Will, he had a 53.9 second lane time, so I wonder what happened there, because everyone else is in sort of the high 30s. Oh yeah, it could have been a speeding penalty, not getting slowed down enough. Another driver who maybe had one of those was going to be your driver, Andrew Adair Saunders. He had a 54.1 lane time. So a couple of speeding penalties as well going to be handing out to drivers, just not being able to get quick enough on that pit limiter. Matt Cook as well. He's not going to try and challenge Michele Constantini too much at the moment. Maybe going to try and do a stint behind Michele and just save some fuel like Michele probably did in the first stint.
Yeah, and it was interesting there for Sinyemi because actually on one hand you want to stay ahead of the race leaders in case a yellow flag comes out, but what you can now do is just sit behind and wait there, and if there is a caution that comes out, he might be able to save a little bit of fuel, which will help him in terms of getting back around, using the wave around procedure, and then hoping for a quick second caution in succession to bring him back onto the lead lap. 63 then of 200 scored complete here in the Classic IndyCar Series on Racespot TV and on iRacing Live. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a couple of moments' time.
I want to leap over buildings, want to fly over the shores, faster than a lightning flash, rushing through the cool night air. Oh, oh, oh. So start ignition, count to 0. I just wanna be a superhero. With fearless thoughts, emotions swirl. I wanna be the man that saves the world. So start ignition.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Classic IndyCar Series here on Racespot TV, streaming live on iRacing Live, a part of Open Wheel Sunday, because of course we've got 2 rounds of the 2K World Cup presented by DES Simulation still to come here this afternoon as well. Lap number 70 now of 200 here at Kansas Speedway And you can get social with us /RaceBotTV at RaceBotTV on your standard social media channels. And of course, live timing and scoring is available yellow for the first time today. And it is Todd Novosad then. He is our first yellow of the day. Replay going to come up for you now. Well, here's a replay then, as we're having a look on board with Novosad in towards turn number 1 and 2. He lost that one all by himself, coming into turn number 1.
Just looks as though the car tracked out a little bit wide before the entry of turn number 1, and bang, he makes contact with the wall at 200 miles an hour plus 350 kilometers an hour, and well, he's not got much more that he can do with that number 34 machine other than it having a bit of a topple up into the catch fence into turn number 1 and 2, and he is going to be out of this race, I think, Will, and we're going to be under our first caution. We did 70 laps caution free. I think that's almost a record in this series.
Definitely a record for this year. Michele Constantini then, 14 laps these guys have done on a stint, so that is about a quarter of a stint. So it'll be very interesting to see if any of these guys decide to come in and top off, because it's not going to help. I'm just going to try and do the math very quickly as we speak here, but I don't think actually, well, they're going to do it all anyway, or are they just going to dummy? Your top 2 drivers will come on towards pit road, and a few others then diving in at the last minute. Split strategy time here at Kansas, and I was just trying to work out here how many more times I need to do this, and 58 times 2, 116 laps at the moment. They would be short by about 11, so they need 2 cautions to help them out, these guys.
Yeah, I think a green flag, you definitely need. It's going to be a 3-stop race, this one, maybe 4, or actually, yeah, possibly a 4-stop race. So I don't think this caution is really going to help Michele Constantini and Matt Cook, your 2 leaders who came down onto the lane. Robert Grosser is going to inherit that lead. I don't think that's going to help them. I think the only people that could potentially help is the likes of Timo Siniemi, because that can then get him back onto the lead lap.
Well, as it stands right now, if I remember correctly, Isiniemi now will be back on the lead lap. So we'll have 22 drivers on that lead lap once again. There you could see the people as they came out of pit road. So it now means that we've got a new leader here today. Or we were going to have a new leader. And it is Robert Grosser. Robert Grosser then in that number 1 machine, leading for the first time here today. Been running in the top 3 consistently, but now he needs a new running partner, Jack, because he needs to be able to get away from Michele Constantini and Matt Cook. Only your top 6 drivers have stayed out. In fact, just checking to see whether that's actually going to come down to 5 drivers. No, it's still 6 drivers that have stayed out from your leading lap drivers. Michele Constantini is the first driver to have pitted twice here today, and then Matt Cook, Henry Bennett, Liam Quinn, and Ernie Carlson et al.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Robert Grosser may buddy up with Joshua Baird, who's going to be restarting this race in second, and maybe those two try and use their advantage. TM Hauser as well, one of the greats that we've seen before in the Classic IndyCar Series. He's going to be starting in third, so I think we could have a nice 3-car train for the restart here, Will, and TM Hauser and Robert Grosser, 2 teammates. I definitely think they are going to be looking to work together. Yeah,
as we just have a look on board, you see those lights are still on top of the iRacing safety car. Now, the thing about restarts is, again, talking it the same way you talk about drivers coming out of pit road, you got to be careful on these starts and restarts. We saw a very good one by all these drivers at the start of the event, but on restarts, you got to hold it high and make sure you don't get on the power too aggressively.
You got a little bit more pressure as well on the restarts, because you know that everyone's going to be anxious to get back to green flag racing, and just the tiniest mistake from one driver can mean that we have another X amount of laps under caution here at Kansas, and we saw that at Homestead, Miami. It's not something that they want to repeat. They would do again, as we said earlier. Practice starts to try and avoid that situation when just before qualifying. In practice as well, they had all the cars doing laps and making sure they could get that practice. A couple were successful in the end, and I think obviously everyone's just still getting used to the IRO5 and how sensitive that first gear is. Wave rounds are now going to happen, and it looks as though the lights are in fact out on the top of the iRacing pace car, so we will be back to green flag racing this time. and Robert Grosser and Joshua Baird are going to be holding those top 2 positions. But Baird, in fact, has got a car in front of him in the form of Andrew Adair Saunders. He hasn't had a wave around, which is interesting.
No, it's not, because it's single file restarts. It's only in the last 10 laps of a motor race that you will have the lap down cars go to the rear of the field. So for number 4 machine, it means that you are going to have to be careful, otherwise you are going to get swamped very quickly. One worst final point, by the way, in terms of these restarts. And one thing that these drivers can do is mess around with their gear stacks a little bit to make it a bit easier in terms of those restarts. But then you run the risk of being bogged down by other drivers. So it's a case of using that right foot, modulating the pedal, no traction control, of course, on these Indy cars. You do it all with your feet. There's your top 8. Grosser, Bard, Hauser, Garrett, Vickery, Gerlicher. And Constantini and Cook are the 2 drivers that came and led all others on towards pit road, who decided to come on towards pit road. Grosser.
Yeah, Grosser, indeed.
Here he is then. Fantastic restart by Grosser. The green flag will come back out once again. Cars going to storm it back down in towards turn number 1 again. And who is going to work the traffic early? Actually, nice and clean restart once again. We had a good one for the first time. Looks like we're having one for the second time as well.
Everyone off to a nice clean start, I believe. I saw Marshall Stanley a bit further back in the field. He had an awesome restart. Managed to preempt it perfectly and got past a couple of cars before they'd even got down into turn 1, Will. And he's currently now sitting back in full team's position. So he's managed to make his way up just 1 or 2 places. Coming across to 1 lap green. Looks as though everyone's just settling back down, and the leaders have now got to get their way past that number 4 machine of Andrew Adair Saunders, who is a lap down, and he is not the quickest driver we see in the Classic IndyCar series, but he always comes along and tries. If there's one driver who gets my sort of gold star for effort, it'd be Andrew Adair Saunders. No matter how bad of a day he has, he's always out there having a bit of fun. Yeah,
let's go on board with Constantini. As Constantini, well, he started 7th for this restart. He's not been able to work up any places yet, but now he's about to go down to the inside of number 31 machine. They're going to almost try and make it 3 wide as they're coming towards turn number 3. Not going to happen just yet. Number 24 machine, though, of Tyler Vickery, going to be forced to the outside line. And here comes that hot knife through butter on Michele Constantini. Is he now going to basically pull Matt Cook around the racetrack for the next couple of laps to put those 2 back into contention? The answer is not just yet. But one at a time, it looks as though they're going to be playing that. Number 31 machine moved up to the high side of the racetrack as well. Can Matt Cook get past along with Constantini for the second driver? The answer is actually going to be yes, he is. So this is what I talked about. Michele Constantini clearly has been one of the fastest drivers all day long. And now what Cook can do is the same strategy I've employed before. Save some fuel and let someone else be the hot knife through butter. But this time, Constantini's going to try and go to the outside in towards turn number 3.
That's extremely close between himself and I believe that's not Michael Gerlicher, that's Johnny Garrett. Michele Constantini is trying to get his way past Matt Cook, right on the tailpipe of Constantini and not leaving an inch of room. Constantini gets a little death wiggle on. Matt Cook is going to have a bit of a bad day in that number 46 machine. He just cannot get his way past Johnny Garrett at the moment. The 68 machine is putting on a good defence. Your top 2 drivers have managed to get their way past Andrew Adair Saunders. Now TM Hauser's nowhere near being able to get a move on. So Joshua Baird and Robert Grosser, I have a feeling these 2 are going to work themselves way away from TM Hauser, just try and get themselves a little bit of a gap. But Constantini, once again, going to be looking high on the number 68 machine, not leaving an inch of room. And in fact, he's made a little bit of a mistake. And look who's going to capitalise on it. It's Matt Cook. But there's not enough room there, Matt. You cannot get a gap. There's going to be contact. And we're going to be staying green. But Michele Constantini, he's just got a bit of a
game over.
It's game over. I think he might have damage on that car. And it was the... Yes, he does, and the wiggle hasn't helped him at all.
Yeah, and they were going 3 wide there. It's dangerous at any point around this racetrack, but we saw what happened as they worked themselves down the back straightaway. Here's another look again. Matt Cook goes down to the inside, and then Cook then tries to thread the needle and go to the middle. And then the 2, Constantini and Cook, just come together. It looks like they've all survived it, but there is some side pod damage now to the left-hand side of that car of Michele Constantini. And you can see he was just trying to work that car, feel that car into turn number 1, see if it's still okay to drive. It looks as though it is, but that will reduce his downforce a bit as they're going 3 wide behind. And that's the battle going on currently for P number 9, 10, 11.
Yeah, good battle to watch this one. It's a nice big group of cars. John Elsweim and Hans Pitkin are going to be the 2 cars behind this. But involved in this one, you got Yoni Khan and a back marker. I believe that's Adam Shipstone in the number 87 machine, or is that Sasha Lamp in the 42? I'm not really too sure. I think it might be Sasha Lamp in the 42, or it could be someone else. But this big group of cars are all going to try and be fighting hard. Obviously, that top 10, that coveted top 10, currently being held by Henry Bennett, Liam Quinn. These two obviously came down onto the pit lane to get a new pair of boots on their cars, ready to go back out. They're going to be looking for Michael Gerlicher to move up into 8th position.
Yeah, and there's Juni Carlton currently in P number 11. Just to let you know, Matt Cook is still behind Johnny Garrett as they're trying to work on the outside again. Is Matt Cook in that number 46 machine? GDG racing car working himself on the low side. Matt Cook on the outside as I'll come down towards the start-finish line once again. And it looks as though, actually, Cook gets a fantastic run on that high side. Now what he needs to have is at number 12 to move to the outside, because this could then give Cook the draft he needs to get that momentum over Garrett. But Garrett now gets the draft through the corner, turn number 3 and 4, and it means the status quo will stay the same once again. 3 wide it's going to be as they head themselves down towards turn number 1, and it will be threading the needle for the lap traffic, and the lap traffic there gets a little bit of contact.
Yeah, Caleb Weekly was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and just unfortunately, 3 wide into turn number 1 never really is going to work. Even with the best drivers, it's still going to be extremely tight and not a gap or not an inch to move left or right. And Matt Cook, he's got a good overspeed off 4 on Johnny Garrett. The 68 machine once again holding that speed on the inside, and he's actually a couple of kilometres an hour slower this time. Matt Cook is running at about 3.54. And Johnny Garrett only hit about 3.51 there. So he has got a little bit more pace, but not enough to get his way past and get that overspeed into 1 and 2.
Yeah, worth noting that just trying to get this graphic. There we are. You can see through their work themselves side by side that Garrett has lost more time, about 1.25 of a second over TM Hauser over the last couple of laps. And this is all taking time out that Cook now thinks, okay, I really need to get a move on if I'm going to get back towards your race leaders, because losing 1/3 of a second at a track like this when the field is very close, that can take an eternity to regain.
Yeah, obviously ovals is much harder to regain time than it is on road courses, and we see that quite often here on Race Spot TV. Matt Cook has managed to get his way up into 4th, but can Johnny Garrett make his way past? Michele Constantini as well managed to get his way past Tyler Vickery there. And
trouble, and Cook's into the wall!
Yes, Cook is in the wall, and he's managed to keep it going. But he has dropped a long way down to 7th. He's now going to have another car going around the outside. I think that's Caleb Weekly, but Mike Gerlicher as well is going to take advantage of that one. No caution needed, but there, Matt Cook is having a bit of a taste of his own medicine, I think I'd like to say. Yeah, let's have a look then on board with Matt Cook, as we're going to see it'll be on the exit of turn number 2. To make contact, Cook just coming down a little bit too low there, and that's going to cost him 3 places and maybe a shot at the victory here at Kansas Motor Speedway. We are getting close, by the way, to halfway in this event, and now Michele Constantini decides that it's going to be his time to go to the outside of Johnny Garrett through turn number 1. He's going to arc it around the corner. Was that a moment there for Johnny Garrett? Because he's just lost 2 places in the space of about 5 seconds. I think he almost had a huge moment. You know that about 40 laps ago you said about the white line, you can't touch it here because otherwise it will just spit you into a wall. Well, he did that, but he didn't get spit into the wall, and it's unlucky for him. He's now obviously coming under pressure from Matt Cook, who's obviously also had that incident. So Johnny Garrett wasn't having a lot of fun down to turn number 1 on that last lap, and definitely got sideways. Michele Constantini back up into 4th. Tyler Vickery just on his tail, but TM Hauser as well has managed to get his way past the 23 machine of Joshua Baird, and is now looking to try and get up into the lead and past Robert Grosser.
Yeah, as we get close to halfway then, let's give you a little bit of RaceSpot TV fan immersion on board with TM Hauser. Grosser's just looking rock solid on that inside line right now. TM Hauser right behind him, 40 laps then onto their stint. So they are now about 20 laps away from their next pit stop. They are still going to have to make at least 2 in this motor race, regardless of the circumstances, Jack.
Yeah, obviously, it's going to be a bit of a split strategy because obviously your leading 3 are now 41 laps into their stint, but Matt Cook, Michele Constantini are only 25. So they're going to run longer, which means their final stop, if this stays green all the way to the end, is going to be a little bit shorter. That could play into their hands a little bit more. But also, it's worth looking at their pit stop times last time round, Will. They were just 6 or 7 seconds, and that could be the make or break in this race. And they're also going to be running a little bit longer, making a later pit stop shorter.
Yeah, what that really means is that 6 or 7 seconds is that they only took fuel, not tyres, because they'd only done 14, 15 laps previously on that one. So that will be one thing that will be worth considering, because if there's going to be another restart, another caution even, and it will mean that the likes of Cook and Constantini either have to take a gamble on old tyres on a restart, or they're going to have to take a longer pit stop to get themselves some fresher boots. Henry Bennett, Liam Quinn, we've been talking about this one all day going on. Marshall Stanley, Lucas Seville, though. Let's have a look on board with Marshall Stanley for a moment, because Lucas Seville and Dave Costello are right ahead of them. They're going side by side.
Not really sure what happened to Lucas Seville. He's tumbled a long way down the field, Will. He has now made 3 pit stops, so something has obviously gone a little bit wrong in that number 2 machine. We see about he's having a good scrap with the 058 machine of David Costello. Marshall Stanley as well. He's been a driver who's been good on the restarts, and he's just waiting behind to see if he can make an advantage. Biggest mover and shaker so far in your field so far today is going to be TM Hauser, currently running second. He's up 27 positions on where he started, Will. And we aren't even, or we're just past halfway. So can he make it 28 by the end of this race? Well, stay tuned and find out.
Well, yeah, you can't tune a website, just to say. One thing that's worth noting, of course, is TM Hauser did not set a qualifying time here today, if I remember correctly. So he's had to work from the rear of the field to the front, Jack.
He has, and that's going to take a lot of effort on as well, out on his fatigue. He's probably going to be a little bit more tired than the drivers who've been running a little bit more up the front, not having as much stress as well in their driving. So TM Hauser, he has been on it all the way through, and Lucas Seville down onto the pit lane again. Something clearly isn't right in that number 2 machine. He's making his 4th stop of the day.
Oof, that is not good there for Lucas Seville after what had potentially been a pretty good race setup for him earlier on this afternoon. We're over halfway, so let's run through your field here on RaceSpot TV and on iRacing Live. Don't forget, live timing and scoring is available for the entire race. Just visit racespot.tv/timing. And let's start off by going through your movers and shakers. 27 places up for TM Hauser, 22 places up for Tyler Lugo Vickery, and 18 places up for Johnny Garrett here today. But let's start at the front of the field with TM Hauser. He's up 2 places from where he started here. And the thing is that Jack, he's had himself good opportunities today. He's always been in that leading pack. We just haven't actually had to see him race too much today.
I think you mean Robert Grosser there, Will. Obviously, he's the guy who started 3rd. He's now leading this race from TM Hauser, who's in 2nd. But Robert Grosser, again, yeah, he's just been nice and quiet up in that front pack. Not really done much racing, and obviously he made up his positions using caution. So he's leading this race, and I wouldn't say leading it comfortably. He's got his teammate behind him giving him a bit of trouble, but he's definitely looking comfortable in that lead.
Yeah, indeed. So as he's currently done himself 47 laps on his most recent stint. TM Hauser has done 48 laps on this stint, as we'll just have a look on board with him right now versus Robert Grosser. Well, Hauser, he's had to do a bit of racing for the field. He's had to use a little bit of strategy to go his way. And now he's got to sit there and, in my opinion, be patient and wait.
He has just got to be patient and wait. He might be able to get it done on the pit stops. As actually Matt Cook and Michele Constantini, that battle is starting back up. They're going to be side by side off of turn 4 this time around. But TM Hauser, he's just got to be patient and wait for his moment to try and get past. Yeah,
Joshua Bard runs in that 3rd place as it stands. And, well, he's another one of those drivers that did not come in the last time by. So he's now 50 laps onto that stint in that number 23 machine. And, well, Bard, he did have a couple of issues here today. He has slid down the track twice. But apart from that, he has had a good race, as their battle beyond him now is going to be Constantini, Matt Cook, and Tyler Lugo Vickery. Lap traffic is going to come into play a little bit here down the line as well. But for Joshua Bard, he's now got Constantini, who's won both races of this season so far, right behind him, and one of the most accomplished oval drivers in IndyCar over the last 5 years in Matt Cook.
Yeah, I don't really think he's going to have much to answer to these guys. They're both exceptional drivers, and Matt Cook, actually, Michele Constantini's going to get boxed in a little bit. Are they going to try and go 3 wide? No, they're not. Michele Constantini's going to be sensible and sit in the draft, try and get behind Matt Cook. But Matt Cook has managed to get his way past Constantini, and he is now going to try and challenge Baird. It looks like maybe there's a little bit of contact. We've got a yellow out on the circuit. Let's go and find out what's happened there.
Well, I'm trying to work this one out, actually, but we are yellow for the second time here today. Let's work this one out. I'm not seeing anyone who's really fallen down my timing screen, unless it was a number 12 machine of Weekly, but he'd just been on pit road. The only other people who I see who have had issues, it's not LaVille, it's not Hoffman. Do you have anything?
I do. Vesta Eula Ollier looks as though off the exit of turn 2, the car is tracked up into the wall. And, well, he had nowhere to go but his roll bar, and he's down and out for the count. He's out of this race. He had a few technical issues earlier on, and he's now out of this race. Completely heavy damage on the 916 car. He didn't even bother taking it back to pit road under its own power. He took the tow, and off he went. That is what caused your second caution of the day here. Robert Grosser, I'd actually expect all the drivers to be down onto pit lane. In fact, actually, Lucas LaVille is the only driver who's staying out, but he's obviously got a few laps down now, and he's only about 7 laps into his stint.
Yep, so let's have a look one more time at that incident. And there we are. Big crash there for Ollier. In the meanwhile, let's have a look at the drivers on your race out of pit road as we go back to live coverage. Everyone into their pit boxes then. And let's have a look down to the driver of Robert Grosser, Michele Constantini. They're all coming in to their pit stalls now. Remember that there'll be different fuel numbers involved for Cook and Constantini. Constantini is going to come out with the race lead by the looks of it. He's going to jump, as will Matt Cook, Robert Grosser. And that's because of the fact they took the risk there, Jack. And because of the fact that they did come in, they had more fuel on that car, so less to top up. And, of course, they all had to take tyres.
They needed that caution, and it came just at the right time for those guys, and they've managed to get themselves past Robert Grosser and TM Hauser. Henry Bennett as well. I think he might have made his way up the positions quite a lot. He's only taken 8 seconds. I think everyone who's made that second stop earlier on and is now making their third stop in this caution, Will, you know what? I think they've resulted very well off it, and they've managed to get themselves a couple of places free, basically. Yep.
We're going to step aside for a moment here on Racebot TV and on iRacing Live, ladies and gentlemen, but we'll be back with more after this. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, coming up in just over an hour, it will be a doubleheader in terms of the 2K World Cup presented by DES Simulation from Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, Montreal, Canada. 113 laps scored complete here then in the Classic IndyCar Series. Those lights are out on the pace car. And for those of you wondering, by the way, in terms of the time remaining, we still have an hour and 4 minutes to go. So, it looks as though we should be okay on running this one to laps and not to time. 88 laps to go in this event here today. Constantini is leading the way then from Matt Cook. Those two drivers had a fantastic run by being able to use strategy to their advantage. All the drivers who pitted under the last caution gained on this one because of the fact that they were able to do their pit stops, well, all of them under yellow. It harmed those people who had basically decided to stay out the last time around. It's back to a level playing field. Here we go once again then. Constantini versus Cook versus Grosser. They've been at it all day long today. Pace car on towards pit road. TM Hauser in 4th place. Keep an eye out on him as well. Green flag in the air. Let's go racing one more time here. And we're back to yellow. We've got a couple, and that is Rory Collins, who has had an issue down on the restart there, Jack.
Look, yeah, it just looks as though he had a little bit of an incident with Randy Shoemake. Shoemake just got going, and Rory Collins didn't. And around Rory Collins went, and Shoemake had nowhere to go, unfortunately. And that's what's brought out the third yellow of the race. I expect no one to be down to pit lane this time because they've all just got new boots and refilled the fuel tank. So we're going to be waiting a little bit more longer to go back to green flag racing, but there was nothing Rory Collins could really do about that incident, Will, and that's one of those unfortunate things that happens.
I want to leap over buildings, want to fly over the shores, faster than a lightning flash, rushing through the cool night air. So start ignition, count to 0. I just wanna be a superhero. With fearless thoughts, emotions swirl. I wanna be the man that saves the world. So start ignition. I just wanna be a superhero.
Behind the pace car here, ladies and gentlemen, then 86 laps to go. Third caution of the day here in the third round of the Classic IndyCar Series on Racebot TV and on iRacing Live. And well, Jack, the guy that's won the first 2 rounds of the championship, is back out in front.
He's in pole position to take 3 for 3 and knows he's going to be putting up a good fight to stop anyone going for it. And Michele Constantini, one of the things he said at the end of last year was that he wanted to go for the overall championship this year. And well, Will, he's looking very good for that overall championship. We might only be 3 races in, but I must say he is a very strong contender.
Yeah, he is. We're still going to have at least 2 laps then behind the pace car here. Cook in second, Grosser in third, TM Hauser fourth, Henry Bennett rounds out your top 5. With Joshua Bard, Liam Quinn, Tyler Lugo Vickery, Johnny Garrett and John Elsworm rounding out your top 10. Retirees today, we've only had 2 of them so far. They are Vesa, Ulia, and also Joel Tremblay, who didn't actually start the motor race. Everyone else is running. We've got a couple of people multiple laps down. That's Todd Novosad, who had some issues earlier on. Jan Hoffman, Lucas Aville currently on pit road. They all scored a lap down. And these drivers that are scored a lap down, they really should be coming on towards pit road every single time, Jack, just to see whether they can get strategy going their way later to gain up a lap or 2 and get them back onto the lead lap at least.
Yeah, I think that would definitely help the guys who are 1 lap down. Not sure that would really help Dovas, who's 4 laps down. So the guys who are 1 lap down, I would say get down onto the pit lane every single time and just make sure that you have a full fuel and new tyres on that car. Even if, again, it has just gone green or yellow, green, yellow, because you can get it done before the guys will come round and complete that that lap to put you another lap down. You can just get back out and get to the back of the queue.
Two drivers have gained more than 20 places in this race today. They are TM Hauser as well as Tyler Lugo Vickery. Vickery's doing a great job then, up from the rear of the field, up into P number 8. Now, we almost expect TM Hauser to charge on ovals. He's been driving this car for so long as part of that Vortex Sim Racing organisation. But Vickery doing a great job of just keeping his nose clean as well when he needs to.
He's a bit of a wild card, really. He's having a very good race today, and Johnny Garrett as well. He's up 16 places. Okay, he's not the 20 of Tyler Lugo Vickery, but he as well. He's having a good charge, and I think the people who maybe weren't able to get the laps and qualifying in that they needed are now actually having that advantage in the race and making it work very, very well.
Yeah, indeed so. Just lots of stuff going on social media. Of course, you can get in contact with us /RaceBot TV on Facebook, at RaceBot TV on Twitter. Come and share the love with us if you'd like to. And just having a look through in terms of strategy now, everyone is either 6 or 7 laps now into a stint here. So there's not going to be any real difference to be had in terms of tyres for the time being or anything. We're still not going to really run past the 2-hour mark unless we have at least 4 more cautions in this event. But fuel saving under yellow, that one can be important.
The fuel saving under yellow is extremely important because it means these guys are going to be able to just run this stint for as long as possible. We are still going to have one more stop before the end of this race with 83 laps remaining. We've only been seeing guys running around 55, 60 laps to a tank of fuel so far, Will. So another pit stop is required, and it will be a very it will definitely be needed with around, probably, I would say people will now come down to the lane with around 40 laps to go, split it in half, and get those tyres on for the final 40 lap charge for the green. We will be going back to green this time. The lights are off on the top of the iRacing pace car, and well, Michele Constantini is back out in front, and I think he might stay there.
Let's then bring you back to Green Flag Racing on RaceBot TV with some RaceBot TV fan immersion. Fantastic restart there by Constantini. Gets himself an early jump over Matt Cook. Grosser remains in 3rd place. I think maybe the Vortex guys did try to synchronize that start. Didn't fully work out because even though Cook didn't have the best of restarts, he still was able to hold on to that 2nd place.
Yeah, Robert Grosser is trying his hardest to get by so he can get onto the tail of Michele Constantini, trying to run away with this. Vortex are looking very strong for a 1-2-3 at the moment. Matt Cook, for me, or Henry Bennett actually, who's not too far behind these guys, would be the only drivers who could stop that from happening. But a Vortex 1-2-3 for those guys, that'd be an awesome result. But Michele, he definitely wants 3 for 3. He's already got just over a 10th on Matt Cook, but Matt Cook has only got about 10th and a half back to Robert Grosser, and in fact Joshua Baird sets the fastest lap of the race so far at 25.297.
Yeah, and that will always happen at the start of a race stint here because those tyres are coldest, but they're also the freshest, and that's what you sometimes need as the tyres come up to 10. TM Hauser now on the back of that train as well, make it a 4-car train. Hauser's going to think about looking to the house side for the moment as they'll come past the start-finish line once again. 78 laps then remaining in this 200-lap event at Kansas, and behind you got John Elsweimer versus Johnny Garrett. That's going on for P number 9.
Yeah, down towards the back of your top 10. Johnny Garrett, one of the drivers who lost out a little bit on that caution. John Elmswarmer, a strong driver. He's trying to use that high groove. He's not going to be able to make it done. Very close to team himself. And Joni Kajinen in P number 11 just behind him in the 77 machine. So that battle for P9 going on strong as they go too wide into turn number 1 once again. The number 31 machine of Michael Gerlicher looks like he might want a piece of this as well. Will, could be a four-way fight before long.
Yep, so fight's going on then. Back at the front of your field, back in your mid-pack. We've even got a couple of battles going on at the rear of your field. Lucas Seville, a driver we talked about earlier, up high and then down low again in this race. He's currently in P number 23. He's got a lot of work to do on this then, and he needs to get going quickly. Otherwise, the guys ahead of him are going to start really putting away.
We saw him towards the end of last year have some great comeback drives. He had some start from the pits or the back of the grid penalties. Can't quite remember which ones. But he used those to advantage, was running great races all the way through the field. It was essentially what lost him the championship in my view, and Robert Gross was very lucky to come away with that one. He is 3-time champion in this series, of course, bringing up number 1 on his car. But Lucas Seville is one of the strongest drivers I've seen over the last year or so covering this series, and he always knows how to make a recovery drive look good.
Yeah, he does. Back to the front of your field. Actually, no, let's not go there just yet. Let's have a look at Michael Gerlicher, because he's involved in a number of little scraps going on right now. He just lost out a little bit to John Elmswarmer. Currently, this is a battle to try and get into your top 10. You got yourself, the drivers, Johnny Garrett, Yannick Karlsruhe, Tyler Lugo Vickery, John Elmswarmer, Hans Pickering right now, back up into the mix a little bit. And Mike Gerlicher, there you can see, just losing that position. He's now down to 13th, as Vickery will lose a position as well.
Looking back up towards the front, that battle is still going strong. Henry Bennett waiting for something to happen, but Joshua Baird and TM Hauser are going at it for P number 4. Matt Cook has been trying to make a move on Michele Constantini, but Constantini is making his car the same width as the track, and Matt Cook cannot find a way past. And Robert Grosser doing what he did at the start of this race, sitting in third, probably trying to save some fuel. Looking like the Vortex guys are going to hold that inside line, forcing Joshua Baird high, and he is going to be struggling to get the overspeed he needs to propel himself around. Robert Grosser with Henry Bennett again, just waiting to see what happens. Liam Quinn running on his own at the moment. Then a little bit further back, you've got too wide, too deep into turn number 1 with Tyler Vickery, Johnny Garrett, Joni Kajinen, and John Elmswarmer, one other driver of Hans Pickman, and Michael Gerlicher as well. Dave Costello going to get involved in this along with Tim Wisniewski. This pack is growing, but again, back out towards the front. Looking like they're still going to be side by side for P number 4. TM Hauser going to manage to get his way past Joshua Baird that time around, but Michele Constantini still holding that lead.
Yeah, he is, and let's not forget, he took that one from Matt Cook on strategy. Cook has a half look, then down to the inside. He will get the inside line in towards turn number 3. Battle for the race lead going on. Cook has that inside line. He forced his way through then, and now the Vortex train will go to the outside. Constantini does lead that lap, but it was not by much then. It was officially at the line by 33 1,000ths of a second. Cook now holding that inside line, cannot actually make it work, and actually he's going to potentially lose a position also to Robert Grosser as they're working to turn number 3 again. Fantastic driving around the outside from Michele Constantini. That car looks as though it can run anywhere on track.
That setup looks absolutely solid. His car is running on rails, and for just a moment, Matt Cook was possibly in the worst situation he could be in. He's going to be looking down low. Has he got the run on Michele Constantini that he needed? But just a lap ago, he was in a situation where he had a Vortex car in front, Vortex car behind, the Vortex car up high. Matt Cook is going to take the lead off Michele Constantini through 3 and 4, and Constantini has nothing to answer for it. He's going to drop back behind him, or is he going to try? They're going to be running too wide into turn number 1, too wide, too deep for the top 4. Was there some contact between Robert Grosser and TM Hauser? Yes, I think there was, because Joshua Baird has managed to get his way up into P4. Robert Grosser has dropped back from P3 to P5 and is now under challenge from Henry Bennett into P6.
On board then with Robert Grosser. Let's have a listen to what happened with him into turn number 1. Yeah, there was contact there. TM Hauser just coming down a little bit there. Grosser wasn't running it fully down to the right line, but the 2 Vortex teammates almost making some contact then, and that allowed Joshua Baird to get through, and it's still scrapping all over the place inside of your top 6. And this is exactly what we loved about these cars and these tracks. And of course, it wasn't the safest form of racing in many ways. There's been a number of big accidents that took place in this IRA 5 machine over the years, and a part of that was just how close the racing was. It's the reason why they wanted to change that, go to, get rid of some of the 1.5 milers, move to a car that would slingshot more than pack race in the DW12 and also in the IR18. It'll be fascinating to see how the IR18 is going to respond to this style of racing when we get to likes of Indianapolis Motor Speedway in a couple of weeks' time.
And well, don't forget, 2 days until the month of May begins, and well, I know you're probably about the most excited person on earth at the moment for that, and it's going to be so interesting to see how that IR18 reacts at Indianapolis. First practices are going to be happening on Monday, on the 1st of May, so make sure you check those out over on IndyCar's YouTube. They're probably going to be the first signs of who is going to be out to watch for the Indy 500 coming along later in the month. But of course, these guys are going to be heading in 2 weeks' time to the Indy Road Course. They aren't having an Indy 500 this year, so they're going to be having a race at the Indy Road Course. And I know for a fact that that is going to be an extremely exciting race, and the Classic IndyCar contribution to the month of May here on Racespot TV.
Yeah, indeed. They will have a 500-mile race. It'll just be at the Tricky Triangle instead. Having a look on board with Johnny Garrett. This is huge style pack racing going on in your mid-pack right now. It's got itself John Elmsheimer, Johnny Garrett, Yanni Carlger and Tyler Lugo Vickery. Vickery's been falling back, though, a little bit on this stint. He was in the top 10 at one point. He's fallen down to P number 11 right now, but the margins here are tiny with 63 to go.
Yeah, they're so tiny, so many margins for mistake. He's currently having a battle with David Costello. They're swapping positions quite literally every second at the moment because those two cars have got nothing between them. The 24 and the 058. And Timo Sinyemi as well on his way back through the pack. Managed obviously back onto the lead lap. And he's just going to be seeing that at the moment back towards the front of your pack. You have Matt Cook out in front, Michele Constantini in second, TM Hauser in third. But Robert Gross has managed to get his way back past Joshua Baird, and Henry Bennett as well is now going to be challenging.
Yeah, we've had a car go into the wall. I believe that was Timo Isinyemi, who's fallen all the way back to the rear of that pack. They were going 3 wide, 2 deep at one point, and here's a look then, replay of Timo Isinyemi. This is how close it's been going, and there we are, just brushing the safer barrier that lines the outside of all these oval tracks. And it got mighty close. They were going from 2 wide in pack formation at one point. They're going 3 wide as they head themselves down this back straightaway. Here's another look then from our aerial coverage brought to you by Logical Innovative Engineering, title sponsor of the Classic IndyCar Series. And that one could have been a 6-car wreck.
That could have certainly been a 6-car wreck. Just looks as though David Costello had a little bit of a move up on Tyler Vickery. And Timo Sinyemi had nowhere to go. He got high up into the wall of turn number 3. And while that's what slowed his pace down just a little bit, he is back. He is still going, running currently down in position number 17. Managed to get his way past Marshall Stanley on that lap, so he's going to be working his way back through. But if you ride on board with him, you can see just how condensed that pack is ahead of him, and that pack is going to take you all the way up to P number 8 with Johnny Garrett. Yeah,
and this is wrong with a bit more contact there down in the middle part of your packers. We just have a bit of an issue there with our camera. That was Dave Costello, and I believe Yannick Aldrin involved in that one as well. But it's all started to kick off here. That mid-pack's one of the biggest packs I've seen in this car in a very long time. And it's one of those, you put your foot wrong once, and it could all go to tears. Not for you, but for a handful of drivers, as I say that. Big crash, yellow flag out here.
That just looks as though the pack racing got too close for some drivers' comfort. It happened up at the front of the pack. It was for the top position, so I believe that was Johnny Garrett and John Elmsheimer. Johnny Garrett just looks as though they had a bit of a tangle, him and Elmsheimer. Maybe moved up a little bit too much and just take contact. There was another car went with them. Looks as though 3 cars were involved, so that is John Elmsheimer, Johnny Garrett, and there was another one. I believe it wasn't Randy Shoemate. I'm going to try and find out who that third car was.
Yeah, we're looking on board the replay then, on board with Johnny Garrett, and as you see, he just comes up the racetrack a little bit, and I believe at the same time Shoemaker was going down as well. But for Garrett, that's a big crash. And let's see if we can get one more look. I want to see if we can find the one for Shoemaker to show you as well. Here we are on board with Randy Shoemaker as he comes into this incident. And you can see just ahead, actually, it wasn't Shoemaker involved, but you can see car flipping up and over, and Shoemaker having to avoid 2 free drivers there. Number 31 car ahead of him as well. That was very close from Mike Gerlicher. Let's have a look on board with Gerlicher, actually. We have got pit stops that are about to start, so we're going to come back to that one in just a second. I can't find the driver. Also, apologies for that one. We just have to look at this one again instead. And now let's take you onto pit road. We've got split strategy going on. Actually, no, everyone on pit road. And this time, Cook's going to get out. Does he have the lead?
Yes, he does. It looks as though Michele has given him the lead in the 46. The third car that I saw involved was Joni Kynan. There was a fourth one as well, but I'm not exactly sure who that was. So, a little bit... but obviously, focusing on these pit stops, you're just looking at Matt Cook and Michele Constantini, and it just looks as though Matt Cook has managed to hold that lead so far. TM Hauser has managed to jump Robert Grosser.
56 laps to go. We'll be back in a moment to bring you back up to speed with what's just happened here in the Classic IndyCar Series on Racebot TV. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go and roll this tape for you there. We're looking for it on board with Mike Gerlicher, number 31 machine. Through turn number 2, and you're just going to see ahead. This is where the carnage happens, and Gerlicher, very lucky originally, but then gets some damage to that number 31 machine, and it has dropped him down a little bit as a consequence. We always thought there was going to be a big incident here at Kansas Speedway. We've had the big one, or we think we've had the big one. We're not quite sure yet. A couple of drivers who are potentially going to get themselves the wave around in the moment as well. Keeping an eye out on that one as Matt Cook is behind the iRacing first safety car with the race lead. And let's just have a look. There's a couple of guys who are going to get that wave around, who have got that wave around. That brings them back into play. Now, what they are Lucas Seville, Adam Shipstone, Jan Hoffman, and Andrew Adair Saunders, who are all going to get back onto the lead lap. But they, ironically, do need another caution in the next 20 laps or so in order to enable them to pit under yellow and not go back one lap down. Here are your top 8. Matt Cook, Michele Constantini, TM Hauser, Robert Grosser, Joshua Bard. And then Henry Bennett, Ian Quinn, Dave Costello, Tyler Lugo Vickery, and then Mike Gerlicher. They are your top 10 with 54 laps to go here in the third round of the Classic IndyCar Series on Racebot TV and on iRacing Live. And don't forget 2K World Cup action in 53 minutes time as well. At the top of the hour, we're going to go live then. Pace car, pit road. Caution number 4 is going to be complete. Green flag back in the air one more time. And, well, the drivers this time, they look as though they're getting settled down on this restart. Nice spacing, actually, between all these drivers. And that's what a lot of them will want right now, just to tick these laps down. So I'd say about 15 to go, and then really go for it, Jack.
Obviously, they have all made now their final pit stop that they need. Other than the drivers who got the wave around, so that's Lucas Seville, Adam Shipstone, Jan Hoffman, and Andrew Adair Saunders. They need that next caution. Tyler Lugo Vickery and Mike Gerlicher. They're going to be swapping positions. Another one within the top 10 as well swapping. But TM Hauser not getting the started that he needed. It's let Michele Constantini and your leader Matt Cook actually break away by about 0.4 of a second. But TM Hauser has got Robert Grosser and Henry Bennett just behind him to worry about.
And Matt Cook once again leads this motor race. Michele Constantini right now. It's worth noting that these drivers out front can now go to the end of this motor race without having to stop again. But for Michele Constantini, he might want Matt Cook just to sweat it out front, and maybe he might try and do some of the last few laps Although Constantini looks as though he might try and want to go down. No, he doesn't. He actually just stays behind them. So Constantini right now playing it safe and preferring to tick off the laps, it looks, for the time being instead.
Yeah, I think he may be just saving his tyres, saving his fuel, waiting for the move later on in the race. Because the earlier he does it, the more opportunity the Matt Cook has to get past. So if he wants to try and do it, I'd say, in the last 15 laps, Will, because that is going to be when Matt Cook is going to have the most pressure on him, and he might be making more mistakes. Now, with 50 laps to go, we just passed the three-quarter way point in this motor race, and actually Matt Cook probably isn't under a lot of pressure at the moment. Give him another, I'd say, 20 laps, and I think he'll be feeling it a lot more, especially if Michele is still right on his tail, less than a tenth per second behind, like he is at the moment.
Yeah, Robert Grosser, of course, you've got to keep him in the mix here. He's been fantastic today in the Classic IndyCar Series, and it's worth noting your top four have now broken the majority of that draft to Henry Bennett. Henry Bennett's got his own battles going on. That's with Joshua Bard, Ian Quinn, David Costello. That one's all forming up again. And Henry Bennett at the front of that train is now playing defensive driving once again.
Yeah, also Liam Quinn, he's definitely got the pace on the other guys at the moment. He went purple last time round in sector number 2. So he's obviously using that draft to his advantage. He's not hanging around either. He wants to try and get past. They're going to be going 2 wide through 3 and 4. They've got David Costello just behind in the 4X racing machine, looking as though he's going to be dropping off the back. Maybe got a little bit of a mistake coming off of 4 that time, or doesn't really want to be involved as much in this. But Liam Quinn, Joshua Baird, is one of the drivers who I've been watching all day, and he has put on a great performance. And he is playing with the big guns here in the Classic IndyCar Series. And these guys, they often do not get beaten. And I mean, he's a name I've never really heard before in IndyCar racing on iRacing. I don't know whether you've heard it before, Will.
I hear everyone, you know that one by now. I'm just showing you the lap gaps, by the way, because Robert Grosser has pulled the gap out between P4 and P5 now in almost a second. So Bennett is actually struggling a little bit, leading the second pack. And if you're Joshua Bard or Liam Quinn, you might be thinking, okay, Bennett, for the sake of us all here, move over, allow us to lead, and let us see if we can try and get back up to a leading pack. Because now they're over a second back, it's going to become mighty, mighty difficult for them to get themselves back into this with 45 to go.
Yeah, obviously the laps are very quickly ticking down.
Yellow. Tyler Lugo Vickery involved. We've got also Timo Risignani by the looks of that as well. Replay coming up. Well, let's just throw that last conversation out of the window. We're on board with the driver of Tyler Lugo Vickery. And it was down at the exit of turn number 2. And Lugo Vickery then is, well, out of the race now by the look of it. And he's having a fantastic run up until then. And trying to work out the driver he was involved with. Coming down, yeah, Jan Pickenen in towards turn number 2. As this might give us a better angle. Yeah, the two came together, and that was just hard into the wall there for Lugo Vickery. Caution number 5 of the day in the air. We'll be back in a second.
I want to leap over buildings, want to fly over the shores, faster than a lightning flash, rushing through the cool night air. So start ignition, count to 0. I just wanna be a superhero. With fearless thoughts, emotions swirl. I wanna be the man that saves the world. So start ignition. I just wanna be a superhero.
Well, earlier on we were talking about fuel saving, now we're talking about fuel burning. 43 laps to go, and we were saying, Jack, that these guys were good to go to the end before they had this caution. Now they are definitely good to go to the end. In fact, a lot of them will want to try and burn about 4 to 5 laps worth of fuel.
Yeah, I think they'll just want to be trying to get some of the weight off the car, because obviously less weight you have on the car, a little bit quicker you can go. The tyres are still pretty fresh. They're only about 15 laps old for these guys at the moment, but they are going to want to get rid of some of this fuel. And this has played really well into the hands of Lucas Laville, Rory Collins, Jan Hoffman, Adam Shipstone, Andrew Adair-Saunders and Timo Sunyemi. They've managed to make their final stop, and they've managed to do it before their fuel runs out. So it's impressive to see those guys use that strategy and preempt that caution that they didn't know that was going to happen, and they also stay on the lead lap. So Lucas Laville, expect him to be moving his way back up the field like we've seen him in the past, and try and maybe get some points by the end of this race with 41.5 laps remaining.
Yeah, we've now got ourselves 21 drivers on the lead lap, leading into the last 42 laps of this event. Keep you an eye in terms of time. We've got 34 minutes remaining in this, and we've got it's a 25-second lap, so we should still be good in terms of time. We're not going to get entirely close to the 2-hour limit, but we're going to get close-ish.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those races that doesn't hit the time limit, but I think it's going to be about the 1 hour 45, 1 hour 50 mark for the time. For the race time. And don't forget, this is tiring. You'd be surprised how tiring it is driving one of these cars around for an hour and 50 minutes at 200 plus mile an hour on an oval, because you've got to be thinking so much about where the other drivers are on the circuit. And well, Will, you've done a lot more oval racing than I can, and you can probably agree with that.
Yeah, and I will say, I mean, yeah, Indianapolis is a huge challenge. Probably the longest race that most of these drivers would do over the course of a calendar year. But there's a difference between Indy Star racing and racing like this, racing at like Michigan and Chicagoland, because the gaps are smaller. You don't have the opportunity to kind of breathe the same way you do at IMS.
Yeah, and that's going to affect really well really badly on the drivers as well. The fatigue might be starting to set in. We've obviously had an hour and a half so far in this race, and it's been a long one. And some of these drivers, especially who've been up at the front or fighting hard in the mid-pack, maybe going to start feeling the fatigue. Obviously, they do get the cautions to have a bit of a breather, just stretch your legs in your sim rig. But I think some of these drivers are going to start feeling the pressure with 40 laps remaining, and it can't be long till we go back to green. And yet we're going to be going green this time because the lights are on top of the pace car.
Yep, there's your top 8 then up on your screen. 32 minutes to go, maximum in this event. But let's make that 41 laps to go. There's your top 8. Let's give you a little bit of RaceSpot TV fan immersion then for the restart as we get close now to the final 1/5 of this motor race. Green flag back in the air one more time. And we get going once more. RaceSpot TV fan immersion coming up. Still status quo out from Matt Cook, Michele Constantini, although TM Hauser up into the 3rd place. And a good start there by Lucas Laville on this restart. He's now MP number 16 as he's just working himself now with Sam Winton. And that is actually that's going to be an easy pass. Winton touching that white line.
Yeah, Winton just not having the start he needed. Lucas Laville got an awesome start. He's already up a few positions on where he was. Sasha Lamp he's getting his way past Jos van der Ven as we speak as well. So the white line is currently playing a little bit of an evils on some of these drivers. And at the moment, Matt Cook, he's got to be starting to feel the pressure now, Will. He's still at the front, but in his mirrors, he's going to be able to see Michele Constantini, TM Hauser, Robert Grosser, 3 Vortex drivers and 3 strong Vortex drivers who have had a good day so far today. Car exiting pit lane as well down low. That's Jan Hoffman in the 05.
Yep, Lucas Laville sets the fastest lap of the day. so far. We go on board then with Michele Constantini. Worth noting that your top 5 have all raced each other a number of times. Michele Constantini then versus Matt Cook towards the start-finish line. Note, you cannot pass on that apron. So for Constantini, he's going to have to find a way of either using his teammates to work that high line or finding an opening if Matt Cook pushes up the racetrack a little bit. I think it's going to be the former option. I think these Vortex guys are going to have to freight train around the outside.
Teamwork is going to be key in getting those guys past Matt Cook. And Matt Cook, well, he hasn't really got anyone there to help him. These guys are all going to form together to try and work and get Michele into the lead, or at least one of them. And Michele, I think, is going to be the best option. He's currently sitting top of the standings, and I think they'll all try and help him. TM Hauser, he's looking to try and get his way past, but Robert Grosser as well. Looking high on TM Hauser, he's going to be able to sit up there in that second groove. But at the moment, everyone else just staying down low. Matt Cook, he's defending and trying not to let Michele have an inch of room that he would need to get that move done.
Yeah, of course, this is only the second race in this car on an oval for Matt Cook. He's done many a race in the DW12 and in the IR18. Matt Cook is trying to break the stranglehold this season on Michele Constantini, who's won the first 2 races of this championship. TM Hauser, well, he's been in the mix so many times before, not only in this series but in other series like the ISOWC. He was a prolific driver over there. Robert Grosser, of course, last season's Classic IndyCar Series champion. We talk about a stacked field out front. This is a stacked field here today with 31 laps to go at the line.
Timo Sunyemi as well. He's going to set the fastest lap of the race so far. The fastest laps are coming in thick and fast. And that top 4 is a star-studded IndyCar, iRacing IndyCar community lineup. You cannot get 4 names which are more high-profile in IndyCars as the ones you see up at the top of your field at the moment. And it shows how strong this series is and how well respected it is as well. Slow moving car, and that is going to be the car of Andrew Rory Collins, making his way down into the pit lane. Maybe looking like, actually, has he run out of fuel? No, he can't have done, because he's only 12 laps into his stint. So I wonder what happened there for Rory.
Damage then, just hitting the safer barrier on the outside. We've got a huge battle going on again in your mid-pack, and this one actually now starts down in P number 5, Henry Bennett. This is now your second pack. You've got Henry Bennett and Joshua Bard going at it closest. Then you've got yourself Liam Quinn, David Costello, Mike Gerlicher, Randy Shoemake, all in these little battles that go on. And you've got always 9 drivers separated by a second right there. And a little bit of lap traffic as well coming into play. It's all heating up at the front part of this field. And Joshua Bard, we're on board of him. Looks as though that his chance of going for victory might have slipped here today, but he's still got a nice little scrap going on with Henry Bennett. And actually, if I was Bard, I'd want to get past Bennett in case there was one more caution, and he could then regroup into that front pack at the end of this one.
Yeah, I think he's losing maybe a little bit of time behind Bennett, but he just cannot find a way past. Bennett is covering that low line like he needs to, and just Bed cannot get his car up high to get it to move around. We saw a couple of people looking in the front pack of Matt Cook, Constantini, Hauser and Grosser, but no one being able to make a move successful. Michele is looking on Matt Cook. We are within 30 laps to go in this race now, Will, and these guys have not got long to decide who is going to be your podium, and more importantly, who's going to be heading down to victory lane today.
Yeah, Liam Quinn, Joshua Bard, they are side by side, and they were side by side a moment ago, as it looks like Quinn is going to try and look to the high side over that number 23 machine. They'll go side by side. In fact, now in towards turn number 3 and 4. We're on board with Liam Quinn then. He's 2.7 seconds back from your race leader. But more importantly, at the line, he did get himself past Joshua Bard, but can he hold that momentum on the outside line? The answer is it's not over yet there, as Liam Quinn's going to try and use that side draft to his advantage a little bit. Quinn cannot get fully through, and now he's going to have to wait another lap before he has the opportunity to do so. But that outside line working for Liam Quinn. In fact, yep, Bard makes a little bit of a slip then on the low side, and that allows Liam Quinn the chance to slot in if he wants to, and he does. He moves low, and look at that there. How close was that between the driver of Bard and Costello? Costello's work past. I think Bard's tyres are shot.
I think they are as well. He's not got the grip that he used to, and actually just in up at the front, Michele Constantini, and actually TM Hauser's managed to get his way up into second by the looks of it. Michele's managed to get back, so battle for second going on. I wonder whether TM Hauser's trying to get up past Michele to try and drag him past. Maybe not. I'm not really sure what's going on with these Vortex guys at the moment. It's left a gap to Matt Cook. That is not what they want to do, to try and get one of them onto victory lane today. And I have a feeling they are trying to get Michele up towards the front, or at least one of them up towards the front. But at the moment, that has not been successful. And the laps are very quickly ticking down here at Kansas Speedway.
Someone get Chris Horner on the phone before these guys do something like what happened earlier today. TM Hauser. Outside line then versus the inside from Michele Constantini. Number 46 and Matt Cook just working alongside, working just ahead of them. They'll come down to less than 25 to go now in this event. And the one driver that is staying very quiet right now is this one, Robert Grosser in P4.
Yeah, Robert is waiting to see what happened. I think TM Hauser is trying to get his way up. Maybe try and help Michele. I'm not really sure what's going on with these guys. It's something that isn't clear to us up in the commentary box. They seem to maybe be scrapping for themselves. No team orders, every man for himself. That would make more sense. So TM Hauser's trying to get his way past Michele into second position, but Michele is not having any of it. He wants all the points he can get. He doesn't want to let Matt Cook win this race either. Next time round, we're going to be 20 laps to go in this motor race, and well, it's been exciting so far, and it isn't far to go, and these guys have got to decide very quickly and get moves done very quickly. The pressure is really starting to ramp up now. It's very much so for that driver of Matt Cook up at the front of the field in the 46. He's got 3 Vortex drivers behind him. He can see them making moves on one another. He doesn't want to get caught up in any scraps that they may have together, if they have any, but he also doesn't want to lose any time or any positions to them.
And don't forget also, we get the opportunity to give out a free Joel real timing key to driver of the day, and there's already a number of candidates in my eyes for this. TM Hauser is quite clearly one of them. In fact, I'd say he's a leading contender right now, even though Joshua Bard was going to be high up earlier on, but he's faded in the last few laps of this motor race. 07 machine, Liam Quinn then on the outside of Henry Bennett. We are less than 20 to go, and they are too wide. They are too deep, almost multiple deep then, for P number 5 through P number 9.
And look who's coming to play back in the top 10. It's the number 2 car of Lucas Seville. He's come back. He's done a comeback drive like he does so many times in the CIS, and he's back up into 9th position. Oh, there's a fact. There's a touch between himself and the number 23 machine of Joshua Baird. He hasn't lost him any time. That's just something that he didn't need on his recovery drive, and that may have given him some damage, and the same to the 23 machine there.
I also need to correct myself, of course, being a Vortex Sim Racing driver. TM Hauser is ineligible for driver of the day. We can still talk about him being a potential driver of the day, but he's not eligible for the JRT award. Thank you to the little voice in my head that reminded me of that one. Matt Cook, though, leads away. He's led the most laps today by the looks of it in that number 46. Aero X machine, as they'll come down the back straight away one more time. Constantini, it was going to take him 10 laps to make this pass work, in my opinion. So I think that if you are Constantini, when you get to 10 to go, you're going to have to commit to the high side.
He's got to, and he hasn't got much choice. Maybe he wants to do it with about 11 to go instead. Try and give himself a little bit more of an opportunity to get it done, but it's very quickly coming down. 16 to go this time around. Robert Grosser as well. He's managed to get his way past TM Hauser. He's got that overrun on him into 3 and 4, and while TM Hauser's got nothing to answer, he's going to slot in behind Grosser. Grosser makes his way up onto the podium. Michele, well, he's eyeing up the move now, Will, and he is definitely looking to the outside of Matt Cook. And Matt, I'm not really sure he's got much he can do about it with 3 Vortex drivers. Oh, there's a touch. TM Hauser gets into the back of Robert Grosser, and he has dropped off of that front pack. So TM Hauser, all hopes of a podium, I think, are gone for him now. Robert Grosser's going to hold that P3, but Michele, he's starting to move high, Will. The move is going to start to happen extremely soon, I feel.
Yeah, there's a replay then of TM Hauser. He's just swept into the corner, and yeah, he's very lucky there not to have spun Robert Grosser around. That could have been a caution there, but that's going to be some damage now to TM Hauser's car, and he's dropped back. Now it's 2 against 1. Vortex versus Aero X Racing. This could be the opportunity that Matt Cook needs to hold on right now. We've got ourselves 13 to go at the line. Matt Cook still leads Michele Constantini. Robert Grosser is in 3rd place. Estelle versus Quinn, by the way. That one's still going on. Henry Bennett versus Liam Quinn. That one's still going on as well. Lucas Seville is back there in that mini pack. as just keeping an eye out on all these little scraps that are going on. Thinking about going 3 wide, actually, in that battle going on for P5 through P number 9, and Henry Bennett will continue to lead that one for the moment. But let's go back then. Michele Constantini, to the outside he goes into 1.
He's definitely trying now. He couldn't get the overrun into 1 this time. 12 laps remaining in this motor race now. Michele, he's starting to look, he's starting to move. He looks like he's got a little bit of an overrun to Cook, on Cook this time. He cannot get alongside enough to stay there at the moment, but he is now trying. The move is starting. 11 laps to go in this race. Going to be down into single digits. Before not too long, and we are under caution. The number 17, the number 2 have tangled. That is in your mid-pack, and the number 2 is doing roly-polies through turn number 3.
Yeah, there's Sam Winton then. Replay coming up for you. On board then with Winton, and that was a free car incident. It was Lucas DeVille who had an incident, I think, on the exit of turn number 2. Need to have a second look at that one, but Lucas DeVille was going, he was running the wall actually all the way through turn number 1 and 2. I think he was just trying to slow it down, and then drivers are just getting boxed in. Winton got boxed in, and the 07 of Quinn then moves DeVille up the racetrack as they were going 3 wide. 3 wide in towards 1. That was it then for DeVille. But you see, he was trying to ride that wall, trying to find a way back down the racetrack. And as always that was happening, what was then the third pack came into play, and poor Lucas DeVille had absolutely nowhere to go, and then Sam Winton just ends up having to run into the rear of him.
350 kilometers now, it goes fast everything goes so fast, and Sam Winton probably would have seen Lucas DeVille moving slow about half a second before he hit him, and in that situation, Will, there isn't much he can do.
See, I'm saying that back. We're looking on board of Winton there. He had a good 4.5 seconds where he could see there was a slow car going. And he sometimes, I know that these drivers are thinking, is there going to be a yellow or not? DeVille was slowing down to the point where there was going to be a yellow anyway. And you've got to have a little bit of heads-up driving. I'd say for Winton on that one, you could have just lifted off the gas a little bit, fallen behind that car, and then just eased it on that inside line.
I'm actually going to disagree with you, Will. Looking from an onboard view of Sam Winton, he got a touch from another car that pushed him up high.
Yeah, but he was always going to have to end up running high anyway. That's the situation. So that touch, that second touch, it all started. I mean, the driver, whose name I forget for a second, they both could have slowed down there. And I think there was starting to be avoiding action taken on the run down in towards turn number 3. It's one of these things that you don't barrel into a corner when you know there's a slow car going on.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that point there, Will. I just think that they maybe could have had a bit of avoidance, but I think also the drivers wouldn't have wanted to lose that much time. That is one of the things as a driver you never want to do. I think they maybe were preempting a caution that never came, and at that point there wasn't really much they could do, and I think that's just one of those instances you have to go down. It's a sequence of events that leads up to the end results, and so many things happened, we can't follow it.
No one is going to try the crazy strategy. Looks like everyone is going to stay out on track. And the thing is, you could take fresh tyres here, but because the track conditions are so cool, Jack, tyre wear has not been the biggest factor today.
No, tyre wear definitely hasn't been the biggest factor, and these drivers are definitely going to be thinking, well, if I come down to pit lane, it's going to put me to the back of the pack. Andrew Adair-Saunders actually does come down onto pit lane. That could be for some damage repair. I wouldn't. Same with Caleb Weekly. So I wouldn't expect these guys at the front, anyway, to be taking tyres with just 8 laps to go. We are in the within the final 10 laps. It's not going to be. It's only going to be about 5-6 laps by the time we go back to green. And Will, that leaves Michele Constantini not much time to get a move done on the number 46 of Matt Cook. But will we see a repeat of what Michele did at Las Vegas last year, Will, for Matt Cook, and he gets bogged down on that final restart because of pressure?
Well, one thing that is worth noting is that these tyres have been for about 3 heat cycles now. One of the things we've been talking about all day long is acceleration zones and getting up to speed in these Indy cars when you hit that kind of 8,500, 9,000 RPM range, and that car wants to snap on you if you've got too much throttle going on. I've got a worry that someone is just going to overrun that corner. And I go back, and there's a team called Ludicrous Speed who have been a feature of IndyCar racing for so many years. And I remember A track not too dissimilar to this at Texas Motor Speedway at the end of the rudder race. They had a 1-2-3 going, and they all synchronized spun the restart.
Yeah, we saw that as well at Homestead, Miami, with the first race in one of the restarts with Michele Constantini and Benjamin Gregory. They both had a bit of synchronized spinning. They didn't have any contact. They just both got on the throttle at the same time, and both went around at the same time. It was impressive to watch, but not the thing that we want to see, especially on a restart. I don't know whether we will see it here again today. The restarts have been pretty good compared to Miami, which was the first race where people struggled with that first gear. Today, they have been a lot better, and they have been a lot smoother. We've only had that one incident, which was out of Rory Collins' hands, in my opinion, as actually lights it off on top of the pace car. So Michele Constantini is going to have 6 laps to get a move on Matt Cook to take that number 66 machine down to victory lane today.
There's your top 8 at the bottom of your screen. Get ready for some fun then. Basically, if we get to 4 to go, the next flag, well, if it's a yellow, will end it. It's as simple as that from here on in. So, get ready for a grandstand finish. First part of a doubleheader on RaceSpot TV. We've got ourselves the 2K World Cup coming up a few minutes after this. Cook goes out in Constantini. Oh my word, what did we just see? We just saw Cook and Constantini both do exactly the thing we talked about there, Jack. Both of them getting on the noisy pedal too early. Cook, Constantini have both thrown their races away.
And Robert Grosser and TM Hauser. The 2-3-4 for Vortex is no more. And that promotes Henry Bennett up into the lead with Liam Quinn in second. That's not the restart that anyone wanted. All we wanted to see. We will go back to green flag racing before the end of this race, but it will only be a couple of laps, and well, that's not what you wanted to see with just 6 laps remaining and what was looking to be such a good battle for the start of this, for the end of this race.
There is a magnet. And I remember David Coulthard talking about a magnet alongside a wall earlier today in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We just saw exactly the same thing here, with 4 drivers all making exactly the same mistake on that restart. Look, they were literally synchronized, darting into that safer barrier.
Yeah, it's just what, yeah, it said the safer barrier always had a magnet on it, and that's just not something we wanted to see. And I mean, you got to be in two minds really, because it's end of the race. It's last minute pressure really for these drivers, and again, I think it's something that they all didn't want to do and didn't want to make. There are cars down onto the pit lane. Michele Constantini, Robert Grosser, both of those cars are crabbing, so they need the damage repair before the end of this race. They're going to now sacrifice all the points they could have got. Matt Cook, though, I think they were following Matt, and Matt was the first one to go, and he span. I think he maybe would have gone a little bit too early, a little bit too much power, and it's that 8,000, 9,000 RPM kill switch.
Yeah, this is absolutely insane. Let's get another look then on board with Matt Cook. You can just see the engine lights. I just want to see whether we have the camera angle that will allow us to do this. There we are. So we're having a look on board with Matt Cook. And I'm just going to pause this at a couple of points. You see that these drivers at 6,000 RPM almost, 5,800, coming onto pit road. So Cook pausing it there, 7,500, 8,500. And that car, back end starts to get loose, 9,000 RPM, wall.
Yep, that's the kill switch. And it's a mistake that these guys shouldn't be making. I mean, Matt Cook, okay, he's not the most experienced guy in these Aero 5s. I'd say he's probably still learning it, especially for the restarts we see on the ovals. So it's an unfortunate mistake for him. But the guys behind him, they should not be making those mistakes. They're all experienced drivers in this Aero 5, and it's something that I think they'll all be kicking themselves about after this race.
Yeah, there's your new top 8. Henry Bennett, 007, leads Liam Quinn on the 07. Dave Costello, 058 machine in 3rd place. Mike Gerdeker in 4th place, by the looks of it. Just take that back. Yeah, we are David Costello. And then Joshua Bard, Randy Shoemake, Marshall Stanley, and Hans Pitkenham. They are your top 8. We are going to have, by the looks of it, 2 laps to go. Those lights are still on. We've got the 2 to go signal here. So 2-lap shootout is what it's going to be. Bennett versus Quinn for the victory. Maybe.
I think definitely, because Bennett and Quinn are both quick drivers. They're both good. They're both good drivers, and they they still definitely could battle. Actually, we're thinking 1 to go on the caution now, so it will be 2 laps of green flag racing as long as they don't go back to caution. If it goes to caution from now on, we will be finishing the race behind the pace car. And well, it all depends on where your drivers of Henry Bennett, Liam Quinn, David Costello, your top 3 at the moment, where they are after those 2 laps of racing as to who will head down to victory lane. It will not be Matt Cook, it will not be Michele Constantini, and it will not be Robert Grosser today.
Yeah, we want to give a quick shout out as we come to 1 to go to all the people that get it done. TV cameras, Isma Balal, Track Cams Gourmets, visit trackcams22.com. Andres Warner and And1 Design for overlay design. Development by Simon Grossman and Aptioneering.com. Nick Fiston for Racebot TV, live timing and scoring. And of course, we want to give a shout out to Logical Innovative Engineering, who are the title sponsor of the Classic IndyCar Series. We are going to have no, we're not. We're going to have a 1-lap shootout at best by the looks of it.
I would still
Because the
say
lights are still
2.
on. No, the lights are still on the pace car.
Oh, it's going to be 1 lap then?
Yeah.
Ooh, this could be very interesting.
This is going to be bold territory right now. And at this point, I mean, let's be honest, you could put anyone into the mix. You've got to be careful on this restart. This is going to be the feast or famine situation, Jack. There are going to be people who are going to try and see whether or not they can just bolt it. Just to let you know, in terms of time, we've got 8 minutes left, so there's no way that we're going to, run out of time here. We're going to have 2 laps to go, and the pace car could just get bored and sit on track, and we'd still be able to finish the race at this stage. But Henry Bennett, what's the game strategy? Do you allow the pace car just to move away a little bit and ease down onto that throttle? You try and go late and force a mistake behind? What do you do?
I would say he probably wants to just try and hold that position. He's only got to hold it off for a mile and a half. The lights are now off on the pace car, so we will have 1 more lap of racing. As soon as these guys go green, it will go white, and then 1 lap later, we will have the checker flag fly. Michael Gerlicher, though, is going to bring himself down onto the pit lane this time around. And, well, I think that could be for fuel. He's only got 54 laps into his stint. Maybe he just underfueled it. Hasn't got enough to get to the end.
I think he had some damage. That was the issue. And he was hoping that he could stay under yellow. And once that 1 to go sign came on, he realised, 2 to go sign came on, he realised he had to come on towards pit road. The race wouldn't finish under caution. There's a lot of moving around at the rear of your field. They've got to be careful because otherwise black flags might be displayed for a few drivers. But it is Henry Bennett then who is going to have the lead of this motor race as we come down. 1 to go. Hey, we're at a NASCAR track. Let's go green, white, checkered, shall we? Want the white and green will be displayed at the same time here. 1.52 miles of racing to go here at Kansas Speedway. Pace car going to come on towards pit road. We've had a crazy last 20 laps or so. What's going to happen at the end? Are they all going to get going? Well, if your name's Henry Bennett, you are. If your name's Liam Quinn, you are as well. White flag out. 1 more lap to go then here at Kansas Speedway. In through turn number 1 and 2. And it's a 2-horse race here. Costello's going to be too far back. On board with Liam Quinn. How bold are you going to be on the run through turn number 3 and 4? He closes up to the rear of Henry Bennett, but I don't think he's going to have the opportunity. He's going to pull alongside, but it's going to be Henry Bennett who wins here at Kansas Speedway. Henry Bennett is your 2nd winner in 2018 in the Classic IndyCar Series, and they all managed to just about keep it going behind as well. Bennett is your winner. Liam Quinn is 2nd, and David Costello rounds out your podium. And who would have said, with even 50 laps to go, Jack, that would be our podium. No Matt Cook, no Vortex Sim Racing drivers, Henry Bennett, Liam Quinn, Dave Costello, amazing.
Well, actually, on that restart, a couple of Vortex drivers decided to have an incident. TM Hauser and Timo Sinyemi actually tangled with each other, and they both went flying across the grass. No caution was needed, but here we go. Henry Bennett and Liam Quinn, they're going to be performing the ceremonial donuts on your front straight. But no, I would not have put any money on that being your podium today. And I think one driver we have to talk about is David Costello. He hasn't had a result this good in the Classic IndyCar ever. And this is going to be a podium for him. Okay, it was luck more than anything for that. for
Hey,
him.
you make your own luck if you're on racing.
Yeah.
You always make your own luck. As let's have a look at your final race results here from the Classic IndyCar Series. It is Henry Bennett who claims a win that even he must have thought would have been impossible with even 15 laps to go in this motor race. UK and Ireland get, which I think is the first ever 1-2 for UK and Ireland in the Classic IndyCar Series. The 007 beating the 07 of Liam Quinn. 42 1,000ths of a second, the gap at the line. Third place, David Costello. Fourth place, Joshua Bard. And rounding out your top five is Randy Shoemake. Marshall Stanley in P number 6, Hans Pitkingham, a fantastic result by him in P number 7, Jos van der Ven in 8, Sasha Lamp in 9, and Adam Shipstone round out your top 10. As we cycle back the results a little bit, Robert Grosser in P number 11, Andrew Adair Saunders in 12, Matt Cook in 13th, Michele Constantini 14th, Liam Hauser rounding out your top 15, and it's in Yami, Jonathan Diggs, Bjorn Kaljunen, Mike Gerlicher, and Jan Hoffman. They are your top 20. Remainder of the results coming up on your screen. And well, Jack, it's that time of the day. But we've got to work out who gets the Classic IndyCar Series Driver of the Day. And with that, a free Joel Roll timing kit.
Yeah, that's always one of the toughest decisions we have to make, and I think it's definitely going to be tough after today, and I think it will maybe have a little bit of a disagreement over it before we actually announce who wins it. But yeah, good race by everyone today, and it was such an exciting ending. And Henry Bennett, well, no one would have put money on it, but he did eventually take the win.
Yeah, we are going to try and talk to a couple of drivers before we go off there. We're going to try and talk to our second place driver, Liam Quinn, whilst we have ourselves the opportunity. Liam, second place. That came out of nowhere like an RKO.
Yeah, our setup was a little bit slow, mine and Henry's. We messed up our sixth gear, so we were kind of running for the rest of the race, but we were practicing the restart in the caution for the end, and we noticed there was a huge slip when you first got on throttle in the second spin up. So we were ready for it, and everyone else got caught out, I think.
Well, seeing all those drivers ahead of you doing exactly the same thing. I mean, I've seen synchronized spinning on restart. I've not seen synchronized spearing into a wall. I mean, that's one of the craziest sights I think I've seen, not only in Classic IndyCar Series history, but in iRacing IndyCar Series.
Sometimes Lady Luck works in mysterious ways, so...
Yeah. I'm going to bring in Henry Bennett into the conversation in a moment. But Liam, one of the things that's worth talking about is the fact that it was pure pack racing here today at Kansas, and it seemed to be that there was a lot of trust going on between drivers. How hard was it out there?
It's tough. It's really easy to move up even a quarter of a lane, and that's enough to send you in the wall, which I think is what happened with Lucas later on.
Well, before we let you go, Liam, who do you want to give a shout out to?
Mr. Bennett.
Well, we're going to go from him in a second. Anyone else?
You guys, and also the Logical guys for setting up a really good series in the Classic IndyCar.
Well, thank you very much, Liam Quinn. And now over to your race winner, Henry Bennett. 15 laps to go. Did you think that you're going to be winning this motor race?
No, not at all. As you saw, I was a bit of a roadblock during that last stint. It was kind of Liam to thank me, but I did make a bit of an error with the setup, and our sixth gear wasn't long enough, so we were running against the rev limiter, so we couldn't get enough straight line speed to pass anyone. So, yeah, I would have been happy to finish fifth.
You talk about rolling roadblock. I mean, how hard was it on track today in what had been pure pack racing?
It was quite difficult, yeah, keeping track of all the drivers around you, and yeah, you definitely had to have your wits about you. Car control wasn't too difficult. You know, there was enough grips that you could hold the white line. But yeah, just the tactics of pack racing, really.
Well, you get yourself victory. I mean, talk us through that moment on that restart when you see four guys ahead of you just dance to the right.
Well, I know the feeling of doing that myself. as I started the season by doing that on the start at the start of Homestead. So I was, and because everyone had old tyres, I did expect someone to spin, but maybe not the top four, as they're all really good drivers. But as soon as I saw them spin to the right, instinct took over, and I shot to the left, just in case I could pick up a position before the yellow came out, and it worked out well.
Well, before we let you go, Henry, who do you want to give a shout out to?
My team, Powerslide Motorsports, Liam for my teammate for was helped during the race. You guys at RaceSpot, and Robert and Lucas for organising the series.
Well, thank you very much, Henry Bennett, Liam Quinn. Then 1-2. We'll try and confirm that actually, whether it is the first 1-2 also for a UK duo in the Classic IndyCar Series. I think I'm right when it comes to that. I'm no Johnny Simone when it comes to stats. We're going to have continuation of our coverage coming up in a little bit here from the Classic IndyCar Series. We're going to get Jack Stiles to do some interviews with the drivers that finished outside of the podium. Jack, before I let you get to that though, who do you want to give a shout out to?
I just want to give a shout out to all the drivers who make this series, and the admins as well. Robert Grosser and Lucas Laville put on a great series, and they always put on a great show for us, and obviously it's something that we come and do week in, week out, and I know this is one of my favourite series to commentate on, and I think it's the same for you, Will.
Yeah, indeed so, of course. We'll be back in a few weeks for the road course of Indianapolis. The month of May kicking itself into high gear. Of course, the Classic IndyCar Series is brought to you and boosted by Logical Innovative Engineering. Thank you to them, and also Joel Real Timing, official partner of the series. And finally, let's give one more shout out to Isran Ballard, TrackCam22.com, Andreas Warner and Warner Design, Simon Grossman, Apptioneering.com, Nick Disson for RaceWhat TV, live timing and scoring. That guy's Jack Stiles. I'm Will Vinton. 2K World Cup on the air in 10 minutes from now. We'll all talk to you in just a little bit. Goodbye.